But first, get this. That's the first time the Giants have lost back-to-back games since June 9th and 10th, and it's the first time they've lost back-to-back road games since 5-12 and 5-13. So those are all really good stats. They're playing good baseball. But I want to get into the ump show thing. Baseball's an emotional game. You play the game with emotion. Every once in a while, you lose your cool. Every once in a while, you're pissed off. Back in the old days when we used to walk uphill in the snow to the ballpark both ways, umpires would give you a little bit a leash because they realize it's an emotional game. And I don't know what's going on with this new umpiring crew, the younger crew. I don't know if they haven't had time to build relationships with players, because let me tell you how this whole thing used to work. You used to build relationships with umpires throughout the course of a season, throughout the course of your career. Umpires talk. They text each other. They call each other. What do you got on FP Santangelo? Well, he's a fiery player, but he's a good dude. Or he's a jerk and make his life tough. He has bad body language at the plate. He shows us up all the time. Whatever. These guys talk. You, throughout your career as a player, build a reputation with your knowledge of the strike zone, your command of the strike zone as a hitter. As a pitcher, same thing with your temperament on missed calls, your body language. Body language is huge. If you go Gumby shoulders and you look at them, you're showing them up in their minds in front of 50,000 people. So back in the old days, umpires used to know who you were. They knew your temperament. They knew if you were a good dude, a bad dude, a jerk, or a great guy. If you were a good dude and you treated them with class and you didn't show them up on a nightly basis, and for whatever reason, on a Thursday night, you're 0 for your last 12 and they call a pitch out of the strike zone and you vent a little bit, they would give you leeway to go ahead and let it rip, as long as you didn't make it personal. That sucked. That wasn't a strike. But as soon as you say you suck and you're horse blank, then you're gone. When you make it personal, you're gone. For those of you who don't know how this whole thing works, and it's been this way for hundreds of years, you can look down and say a lot of things and get away with it as long as you're not looking the umpire looking back at him. So when something goes haywire in front of 40,000 people and you're competing your ass off and you're trying to make a living, you're trying to get hits, you're trying to win a Major League Baseball game, sometimes it's an emotional game. Sometimes the emotions get the better of you. Now, if you slam your helmet in a home plate, slam your bat down, turn around, tell him he's horse ass, okay, you're gone. Or if you say the magic word like in Bull Durham, you're gone. But J.D. Davis was walking away. He was saying something with his back to him, and it looked like he wanted confrontation. And I see this all the time with the younger umpiring crew, that they look for confrontation. They seek out confrontation. And so while you're trying to air your grievance, they just throw you out now. And I've seen some ridiculous ones. I seen Anthony Rendon on a called third strike, and all he did was just drop his bat, put his helmet down, and they threw him out for just dropping his bat. He didn't say a word. J.D. Davis, that was his first career ejection tonight. He's built a reputation as a guy that you give a little bit of leeway to. But with these younger umpires, and I don't know how long John Tumpaine's been in the league, but I remember hearing his name for a while now. If you have a reputation as being a good dude, okay, you lose your temper, that's fine. As long as you don't just completely show me up, as long as you don't turn around, get in my face, turn your hat around, and we're nose to nose, and you call me bad names, hey, it's an emotional game. Maybe I missed it. That's what I would think as an umpire. Maybe I missed it, and he's right. I'm going to let him vent a little bit. And then after I let him vent a little bit, that's enough. Sometimes they'll take off their mask. When they take off their mask, that's a sign to stop it. If you're venting to an umpire, they'll let you go, and as soon as they flip off the mask, look out. That means you're on thin ice. You better shut up. You better go back to the dugout. Another little tidbit for you baseball nerds driving around right now is they rather have you say your piece at home plate than go back to the dugout and chirp. The way they look at things, if you go back to the dugout, you're being kind of chicken-ass, for lack of a better term, because you're by your teammates, you're in the dugout, and you're chirping from the dugout. So handle it like a man, face-to-face. This was the old school way. Don't direct anything personally to them like you suck. You can say that call sucked. You missed it, whatever. But you can't say anything personal. So then what I loved about this tonight, and I don't think this had any bearing on the game. Maybe it did in a 2-1 game, and I think JD will tell you. We have sound from JD and we have sound from Gabe that we're going to get to eventually. That JD knows that he has to be in that game. He's too valuable as a San Francisco Giant to get ejected in a game like that. But I don't think he did anything to deserve to. I don't know what he said. I really don't. I know JD Davis is a Christian. I don't even think he swears. So in that regard, you used to know these things as an umpire. Like FP's not a Christian. No, I'm just kidding. Like FP spontaneously combusts when he walks into church. Little things like that you used to know as an umpire. And they used to ask how Frank Menachino does this great routine. Old Oakland A. And he's been a coach in the big leagues. He's out of baseball right now, and it's a shame because he knows so much. But he has this routine he used to do in the clubhouse about, they're at second base one night, they're asking how your wife is, how your kids are. Then the next night they're at first base, you get a base hit, and they're like, way to swing it, Frankie. And you're like, oh, thanks, man. How you do? Where are we going after the game? We're going to have a beer. And he goes, the next night they're behind home plate, and it's strike three. And you're like, what happened to being friends the last 2 nights? And it's kind of how it was. So with this whole thing with JD tonight, that's a big player to throw out of a game. And I tweeted this out, and maybe it was an aggressive tweet. I don't know, but I was pissed at the time. Nobody in the whole country of Canada came to Rogers Center tonight to watch John Tumpane ump. And he was talking to Kai Correa. He threw out Gabe Kapler. He was talking to the Blue Jays manager, Snyder. They were it was way too much umpire for me. I don't need umpire in my game. Umpires are like linemen in football. Do your job. I don't want to hear about you. Just do your job. And don't be the center of attention. And for whatever reason, I think it's kind of an epidemic in today's game. When Eddie Montague, who I see at the ballpark every night, was an umpire, this didn't happen. And you would really have to piss Eddie off for him to run you out of a game. And the warning sign is, once again, take your mask off, then you shut up, and it's all over. It was kind of part of the deal. So Susan Slusser is coming on at 7:25. Apparently the clubhouse in Toronto has taken a while to open up. Well, that's kind of news in and of itself. Maybe they're having a little powwow about, I don't know, what happened in the game tonight. I will say this. What happened with the skipper getting thrown out after JD Davis, that's old school, man. There's nothing worse as a player when you're left hanging. We used to call it being left hanging. I'm out there arguing a call. I'm out there arguing the call. I'm waiting for the troops to come running in from behind me, meaning your manager, and they just leave you out there. And it makes you look like an idiot. Like the manager's saying, yeah, you were out, FP. It's almost like when you tell a joke on the air and then your partner doesn't laugh at it. And they just kind of leave you hanging like, well, that was a dumb joke. Same kind of thing. Bobby Cox was the best at it. Bobby Cox got thrown out more than anybody in the history of baseball because even if Chipper Jones was wrong, even if Chipper Jones was out by a mile and he got up and argued, Bobby Cox would go out there, and if Chipper got thrown out, he's getting thrown out, and they're both drinking beers in the clubhouse together. What does that mean? It just means the manager has your back. And Gabe's a guy that's super umpire-friendly. I think at times too much, if I'm being honest. And to see him have that emotion, I forget where it was. We were just recently on the road trip when I was doing the games, and he was really ticked off about a ball or strike call in the dugout. And even keel Gabe is cool, but I like Gabe with a little bit of the red ass. And that's what he had tonight. And his guy got thrown out, and he got thrown out right after. And that's how it used to be. Trust me. There's a lot of things I want to get into tonight. The Giants lost the battle. They may have won the war tonight in the sense that I think we found a new starting pitcher. Keaton Winn was insane. And this is a guy that I've watched pitch in person before. I'm like, why isn't he a starter? He looks like a starter. He's got the body of a starter. He reminds me of Blake Trinan with his build and his stuff. Same kind of thing. Maybe not his beliefs, but I don't know what Keaton Winn believes in. But really, really good stuff tonight from Keaton Winn. His first big league start in Rogers Center against that lineup. He made one mistake, and I don't know. He didn't get away with the mistake, and Vladimir Guerrero made him pay. So, I mean, the Blue Jays got 2 runs on 3 hits. Keaton Winn was amazing tonight. He went 6. He gave up 2 runs on 3 hits. He struck out 3, walked 1, throwing 99 miles an hour. Just a big badass on the mound. And this is a guy, and you guys probably know this, so forgive me for telling you something you already know, that his first time in a major league park was when he got called up to St. Louis. His first time in a big league park. He had never set foot in one as a fan. He had never been to a big league park until he went to St. Louis the time he got called up. I don't even know how that happens. Like, okay, if you're a Japanese player, maybe, or if you're a Dominican player, I get it. If you're from Venezuela, okay. But like, if he's from Iowa. The Cubs are right there. I don't know how that whole thing happened, but I do know he's a major leaguer. So 808 KNBR is the number. I want to hear your calls, your reaction to tonight. Going to take a quick break, Raph, and then we'll take these calls on the other side. It's FP Santangelo, KNBR tonight on the Sports Leader.
Crawford and Wade. There they go. The pitch is strike three called. And a very low strike. And Davis is very unhappy with John Tumpane. And he's just been ejected from the game. And here comes manager Gabe Kapler out to get in the face of John Tumpane. And I think the idea being the guy can be a little bit angry. And now Gabe Kapler has just been ejected from the game. Well, John Tumpane is letting his thin skin show for everybody to see.
Looked like maybe you were checking on some of those calls. What did you think of his sort of frustration level there?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that's exactly how I was thinking about it. Guys like JD, Wilmer Flores, Jock Peterson, actually like most of our guys are all very even-keeled. So when they get bent out of shape about something, I trust that they're right. And he was right, and it wasn't just about that call. I mean, from my perspective, there's at least one balk in that inning that wasn't called. And look, I never expect umpires to be perfect. I do expect them to have patience, though.
I'm a pretty patient dude, except for when I'm in traffic. If I was an umpire in traffic, I'd be ejecting everybody because nobody can drive around here. Y'all are either stoned or on crack, one or the other. Like there's no in between. You're either going 30 in the fast lane or you're driving 100. And it's really bad when I'm on my scooter, a little electric scooter on the Embarcadero. But normally I'm a patient dude, and umpires should have patience. And it was really cool how John described John Tumpane having thin skin. That's thin skin, man. I've heard managers come out and say, this is an emotional game. You got to let my guy, da, da, da. And then everybody gets thrown out tonight. I thought that was really cool. Gabe knows his players.
John Tumpane is letting his thin skin show for everybody to see.
Yeah, and you know your players. As a manager, you know your players' demeanor, you know their makeup, you know a guy that has a really good eye at the plate, and he never argues. So when they argue, you're like, wait a minute. If Wilmer Flores is getting mad, I'm getting mad. If J.D. Davis is getting mad, I'm getting mad. If Tyro's getting mad, like, is there any snappers on this team? Is there any guys that can't control their emotions on this team? I really don't think so. So 808 KNBR, tons of calls. You guys are lining up again. Let's knock them down. You guys are amazing. I love my show, and I love my listeners. You guys are fantastic. I'm going to go in the order that you called. Let's go to Glenn and Visalia. Glenn, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, Frank, please don't make excuses. There's no reason why they struck out 14 times tonight.
Yeah, that part's...
There's no excuse for that, hey, Pete.
Yeah.
Back in those days, man, they used to break bats. I don't see it in this team, man.
Are you done? Keep going. This is good.
Hey, Pete, this is no joke, man. This is real.
Are you okay?
There's no excuse for them to strike out that many times. Have some pride.
Is this Mad Dog Russo?
FP, please don't be making fun of me.
Oh, okay.
I'm real.
Are you serious? Do we need to talk you off the ledge?
Yes.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I just get angry for them not adjusting.
You have thin skin like John Tumpane, I feel like. It's just one game.
No, Frank, there's no excuse striking out 14, 15 times. Adjust.
Well, yeah, I'm with you. It was tough to watch tonight, and they've struck out a lot in this series. And when you look at who they went up against tonight, it was a guy that's been getting his you-know-what handed to him a lot lately. So, yeah, Bassett had his way. 12 strikeouts. He walked 3. He was keeping him off balance. I don't know. I really can't tell you. This is a team that started the season striking out a lot. Obviously, they're down Mike Yastrzemski. They're down Michael Conforto. They're down some players right now. And you have Lamont Wade Jr. Did you watch the shots of Lamont Wade tonight with the heat pack on his back and then the Theragun all over his... I mean, he's playing dinged up. The more I see Lamont Wade Jr., the more I love the guy. And the more I get to know him, the more I love the guy. I'm a huge fan. Glenn, you take a deep breath?
Yeah, but
you take a deep breath with me? You all right?
Jock Peterson and Lamont Wade are my two favorite players. And I do hope that they make it to the All-Star games.
I don't think Jock's going to make it, but Lamont Wade Jr.'s got a chance. Although Jock Peterson played left field like an all-star tonight. What the hell was that? That was amazing. He was all over the place, diving plays, sliding with his tongue out. What's that?
That's hard.
That's hard. You have heart, Glenn.
Thank you, FP.
All right, thanks for calling, Glenn. Don't take it so seriously. It's just a game. You're going to be okay. And if you're still feeling bad in a half hour or so, call back. Don't do anything silly. They're just strikeouts, for goodness sakes.
I'm not.
Okay, good. Whew. We started out with a bang right there. All right, Steve in Bend, Oregon. Are you okay?
I waited a half hour to have a stroke on the air. I loved it.
Yeah, I love I love the passion. I love the emotion. I just hope he's going to be okay. What do you got, Steve? How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Fable attempted steal. Your thoughts? What do you? Is that called by Gabe from his hotel room or from his car?
What if Gabe was up in the Sky Dome? That would be better than Bobby Valentine when he had the mustache on the corner of the Mets dugout. If Gabe was up in the Sky Dome Hotel in his window with his shirt off, all oiled up, flashing signs from center field.
He's going, I'm not liking the proceedings. Yeah.
Hey, I'll say this, Steve. It's great if you make it. How about that for some in-depth analysis?
All right.
I mean, if you go, here's the thing I always found out. So quick lesson in base stealing for everybody out there. And this is just my personal experience. I've talked to a lot of players the same way. When I had a green light, I would go when I thought I'm getting an off-speed pitch, number one. Sometimes I'd peek for signs, but you can't do that anymore with a pitch comm. And I would go if I got my best jump. When a manager told me to steal, now I'm out there, I'm antsy, and I never got my best jump. It's just like, you have to steal here right now. So I would guess, based on hanging around these guys and knowing some things, that Blake Sable did not get a stop sign. So what happens with a green light is you're green until, like, our stop sign in Montreal was if Jerry Manuel hit his belt. And he would hit it like, if it was like you're down by 1 in the ninth and say a good Moises Alou is up, he would just get over there and hit his belt like 15 times, like, don't go, red light, red light, red light, red light. So what happens with a base stealer, when you have a green light, you can go whenever you want, but you're looking for a sign every pitch and you're looking for the red light. And if there's no red light or no stop sign, then you can go. So I'd imagine right there that he had the green light, because based on a lot of years of experience, when somebody tells you to go and they put a gun at your head and you got to steal on that pitch, you have a tendency to get tight and you have a tendency not to get your best jump.
Yeah, that's a good call. Good take.
All right, Steve, thanks. Anything else you want to chime in on? We got tons of time. We got to kill 3 hours, dude. So whatever.
Wait. Don't go. I have one more.
Okay.
All right. So Winn, Webb, Cobb, DeSclafani. There's your starters right there. Although I think Winn needs to be maybe 1 or 2 more starts as the league scouts him, but I think those are your starters. And then maybe even plug in Wood for DeSclafani as a starter, because he's fading a little bit. I think a piano fell on him, not a piano bench on his toe. But there's your 4 starters right there. Winn is really who we think he is.
Oh, my gosh. He looks the part. He's a grown man out there. Isn't he throwing 99 with a nasty split? The one thing I would say with the split, if it hangs, it's like a BP fastball that goes a long way. That's the one danger with it. But he has enough command of it that he could land it for a strike and then he can throw it for a wipeout pitch with 2 strikes. He looks the part. I don't know what his dimensions are. He looks like he's 6'5", 250 something. Like he's a big boy out there on the mound. I like him as a starter. And the first time I saw him in St. Louis in person, I'm like, this guy's a starting pitcher. He just looks the part. And my comparison is Blake Trinan. Blake Trinan had that easy 98 where he had just the slow arm. All of a sudden you look up, it looks like a changeup. You look at the scoreboard, it's 99. And that's kind of what Keaton Winn had going on tonight. I think if you added Kyle Harrison in there too with him, now you kind of have a pretty good staff with left, right, left. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the second half. But I think I talked about it earlier. I don't know if you were listening. You lose a battle to win a war. Like, they lost the battle tonight, but I think they found a legit starting pitcher.
And then I'd love to see Brandon Crawford take a called third strike, drop the bat, go jaw to jaw, get thrown out. I would love to see that.
See, but that's not him. And if he did that, then Gabe would come out and get thrown out, yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to see that because it's out of character. Great show, FP.
Thanks,
always.
Steve. Thanks for calling. I'll tell you this. Keep an eye on Brandon Crawford. He was so on time with his lower half tonight. He was taking some mighty hacks, and I was flinching every time he swung. He's about ready to get really, 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 really hot. There was a great approach tonight. His leg kick is nice and slow. It's got some hang to it. He gets back nice and early, and then he gets the foot down soft, the head staying still, and the bat's coming through the strike zone, and it's in the zone for a long time. It's a pretty violent swing right now in a good way. Let's go to Mike in Oregon. Mike, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, FP, how you doing, brother?
What's going on, homie? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. That was a good, bad loss, Saw some good things and some bad things. 29 strikeouts in 2 games and 2 losses. That's not a good thing, and I hope it's not a trend again. But Jock, in the outfield, that was ridiculous. When I heard those plays, I go, man, keep him out there for a while, And I was just pleased at what's his name, Wynn's pitching performance. It's sad that he gave it up to Vladdy Jr., but man, he was in his zone, and the one walk he gave up kind of cost us. But that's the first walk we've had in over 30 innings or whatever it was. That's ridiculous. So they're playing well. I actually thought we were going to have the comeback. I really did. I hung in there. I really thought we were going to do it, but now we're going to go into the Mets, and we're still hanging in there. We're in the race, and I'm happy with this team. I'm proud of the team. They don't give up. That was the thing. They didn't give up, but they got to take some more of these pitches, man. And seems like they're having trouble with the off speeds. And you're watching it. You tell me.
I've seen a lot of called third strikes, which I don't love. Blake Sable tonight was watching him go by. The game has changed where with 2 strikes, you still want your hitters to do damage, and they'll teach that now. I'm from the old school where 2 strikes, you stick your you-know-what in the dirt, and you battle, you fight, you scrap, you claw, you choke up, and you make the pitcher work, and if you put the ball in play, good things happen. And if you go down swinging, you go down swinging. But I always, the most pissed I would get on a strikeout is if it was a called third strike, because I didn't give myself a chance to get a hit. And when you see, the one that really frustrates me, Mike, is when it's a fastball right down the middle on a called third strike. I'm like, well, are we guessing with 2 strikes? Because the old theory was fastball adjust, and that's the last command I'd give myself before I went in the batter's box with 2 strikes. Literally, I would get my toe hold with my foot, and I'd say fastball adjust, and that means I'm on the fastball, because if I look for off speed and it's a fastball, I can't get to it. So you get to the firmest pitch, and then if you're out front, you just try to keep your bat in the zone and put the off speed in play. But I've seen a lot of called thirds on a fastball, and that's concerning.
Well, and that's right. That's what I've noticed in the majority of our strikeouts that we've had, and even from our best hitters. And in fact, John even mentioned it tonight. He goes, looked like they were guessing on some of these, not even, watching looking for their pitch. They were just guessing. And man, I agree with you 1,000%. The calls strike right down the pipe. And it doesn't matter if they're rookies or they're seasoned veterans with good, batting averages. So, but you know what? FP, then they're still in there, and hopefully it'll tighten up. And we said that before, and they did. They make a turnaround, so hopefully it'll happen again, and we're still in it. So, I still got a smile on my face. What can I tell you, brother? I can't wipe it off.
Oh, man, it was so good meeting you, Mike. For those of you who don't know, Mike came to the game last Saturday. He was a guest of mine at the Giants game, and we put him in the family section, and this is just a recap. You guys probably heard this, so I forgive me for repeating it. I saw him. We hugged. It was great to meet him finally. He looks like Charlton Heston, by the way, in 10 Commandments. Really good-looking dude. And he doesn't have his sight. He got in a car accident many years ago and then woke up, Mike, 3 months later, and he just woke up and you couldn't see? Is that am I getting that right?
Was actually 10 years later. It was a different reason.
Three months, 10 years. Still, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story.
It doesn't matter. It's still a tragedy, but I'm still living my life, brother.
You are, dude. You got the great spirit about you, and the fact that we're close enough now after doing this for a year that we can joke about it, because when I sat down and we met, you said, great seats, and I said, how do you know? And then we just watched the game together for an inning or so, and it was just good to get to know you, man, and it's a wonderful story. And I'm glad that on behalf of the Giants, we did get you some really good seats, by the way. And it was fun to see. And we're going to get you.
Are you kidding me? I was disappointed with the view, brother.
You know what, Mike? So this is a true story. Like I've left a lot of tickets throughout my career, whether I'm a player, a broadcaster, or whatever. And every once in a while, I get somebody say, like, where are the seats? And you're like, wait a minute, I'm leaving you free tickets and you're asking me where are the seats? Yeah, are they good seats I've gotten before? You know what my standard answer is? They're free and they're facing the field. That's what I tell everybody.
I didn't even ask one time, man.
I know, dude. You're a wonderful human being, dude. And I'm glad that we've gotten to know each other over this past year or so that I've been on the air. And we're going to get you to another game soon, so count on it.
All right, brother. I already put in the request, so hopefully it'll work out.
Yeah, I'm paying for them, so you're going to be in the nosebleeds, and you're not even going to know the difference.
Hey, man, that's all right. If it bleeds, it'll go all over you when you hug me.
All right, dude. Take care, and I hope you feel better. All right,
thanks, brother.
Let's go to Benny in Las Vegas. Benny, you're on KNBR.
Hey, how's it going? Do you hear me?
I got you, Benny. Go ahead, buddy.
Hey, man, thanks for taking the call. I wanted to say I totally agree with you. There's just too much umps in the game, too much ump in the game, I should say. And honestly, the way I look at it is like maybe it's just a death rattle. I think they really are feeling the pressure and realizing that they might not be around for many more years. And frankly, they're just trying to make it about them a little more than they have typically in the past. It's because they feel like, I don't know.
No, that's a stretch, Benny. I think it's just like they need to go to common sense school. Like we have umpiring school where you get to go like, hoo-ha, there's my strike call. Hoo-ha, there's my called third strike call. And, you know, this is the position you get when a guy's stealing second. If it's a triple, this is where the angle you get. They go through all that. How about like, okay, you graduated from ump school. Now, in order to go to A-ball, you have to go to common sense school for another month.
Yeah, maybe that's not a bad idea. They do a little common sense. I got to say, I'm a San Francisco native, but I moved out to Las Vegas a few years ago, and I'm right by AAA Aviators. And I go to a lot of games, and I've seen, you know, obviously a lot of these innovations that we've seen come up to the major league level have started at AAA and even at AA, and it's been interesting to see, like the most recent one being that you could actually challenge pitch calls, and it's been interesting to see just how, you know, the influence of the umps has slowly, I think, been whittled away a little bit at AAA. And I wonder, I just kind of wanted to know your opinion as to whether that's going to come to the majors, and if so, when you're going to be able to challenge bad calls like that.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. You know what I will say, Benny? Like everything I thought was going to suck hasn't. I thought the new rules were going to suck. I thought I thought the clock was going to suck, and it's all been. I've enjoyed the game maybe more this year than I have in a long, long time. There's a guy in Arise who's flirting with a 400 average. I said before the season I thought Juan Soto had a chance to hit 400. I was wrong. It's Arise from Miami just because there's ground ball base hits now. I love the stolen base. I'd love to see a guy go first to third. Now the hole's open at first again with the runner on. It's just a better brand of baseball. It's scooting along. Get on the mound, throw it. None of this extracurricular activity. The one thing I would say, Benny, if I'm making any sort of adjustment with the new rules is I would want a 30-second clock in the ninth inning in the postseason. I don't want anybody to have to rush when there's so much at stake. Like the playoffs are so damn intense when there's not a clock. Can you imagine a Game 7 of World Series ending on a pitching violation, whether it's the guy didn't get in the box or the pitcher took too long? And that's how – so I would just a little addendum to the rule in the postseason, maybe a 25 or 30-second clock in the ninth inning of a save opportunity game, 3 runs or less. In October, that's it. That's the only little tweak I'd make to the rule.
Yeah, I think it's a good call, dude. And especially if it does come to that in the postseason and there is something like that, a pitch clock violation, that's when you're going to hear about it from the fans, right? When everything gets magnified in October, then some of these things maybe will get a little bit adjusted. I mean, there hasn't been really like a championship on the line with any of this stuff yet. And when that happens, I think maybe you'll see a little more scrutiny.
Yeah, but be proactive. Don't be reactive. Don't wait for that to happen and fans lose their minds. Just say, hey, we've made a little tweak to the rule. In October, it's going to be 25 seconds if it's a 3-run lead or less, a save opportunity in the ninth inning. And that's it. Just that's the only time in October in the ninth inning. I think it's common sense. I hope they do it. But once again, We're seeing there's not a lot of common sense in baseball. All right, Benny, thanks for the call, dude. I got a break. We're at the bottom of the hour. 808 KNBR is the number. You guys are lining up.
Thanks,
full
Jesse.
phone lines. Sure, Benny, thanks for calling. Full phone lines. Like it's like one drops in, another one comes in. You guys are amazing. I mean, we've been doing this all week. You guys are incredible. I'm thrilled to take your calls. We got to take a quick break and take care of some business, pay some bills. I'll take your, I have a lot of show planned tonight, but as long as the phone lines are full, we're going to talk to you. So your call's next on The Sports Leader.
The 1-1. That one is hit to left center field. Jock on the move, and he'll make this catch and tumble over on the turf. Jock Peterson having a night in the outfield. Two terrific plays there. That one I didn't think he could get to. He robbed Espinal of extra bases and saved a run. What a play by Jock, who's playing in the field for a rare time tonight and doing a great job. That was fun to watch.
Well, we hit the jackpot on the calls tonight. It's full phone lines. So if it's busy, keep trying. 808 KNBR, this is the show to be heard at. Does that make sense? That's not bad. That's bad English. This is a show to be heard at. No, this is our show. What the hell am I talking about? 808 KNBR is the number. Yeah, let's try that one again. Take two on live radio. We're streaming on the all-new KNBR app if you want to see how hot I am. Everybody come over and see how good I look. I look like crap. Let me get to your calls here in a second. I just want to kind of reset the show. We had word that Glenn, the first caller tonight, if you missed it, is okay. He called in. He was very emotional about the Giants striking out a bunch tonight. Well, they strike out 14 times tonight, and he was really upset. And I didn't know if he was joking or serious. Turns out he was serious. He was really upset about the Giants striking out 4 times. We love the passion, Glenn. We're glad you're okay. You can call back whenever, just if you need somebody to talk to. We are definitely here for you. All right, I'm just going to keep firing the phones. Because there's people waiting, and there's people waiting to call. I am literally blown away by the enthusiasm from Giants fans and the enthusiasm for this show this week. Like, it's been nonstop. So we have different producers on different nights, and I'm trying to explain to Raph that it's just been insane this week. You guys have been just unbelievable calling the show, 3 hours of calls. If one drops, another one comes in. The text line's on fire. The Giants, by the way, recap, he lose 2-1 tonight. The Jays had 2 runs on 3 hits. It was Vlad Jr.'s HR off of Keaton Winn, who was amazing tonight. So I've been saying they lost the battle, but maybe they win the war. It was one of those losses tonight where I don't think you get that upset. Maybe put the ball in play a few more times. Maybe make an adjustment with 2 strikes. But, I mean, that's the game nowadays. It's about doing damage with 2 strikes. And not, putting the ball in play. The theory is, what's a ground ball to short going to do? I don't know. Maybe he kicks it. I'm old school. This is the first time the Giants have lost back-to-back games since June 9th and 10th. It's the first time they've lost back-to-back road games since May 12th and May 13th. So that's how good your San Francisco Giants have been playing right now. Big series in New York coming up. Didn't get the job done in Toronto like we had hoped. But the story I thought of the game was 2 things. Keaton Winn was awesome and John Tumpane wasn't. And he was the on-plate umpire that ejected J.D. Davis, who's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's not a hothead. He doesn't get thrown out. That was his first career ejection. So if I'm an umpire and I'm having a beer after the game and I find out that that's a guy's first career ejection, I got to look at myself in the mirror. I don't think these guys have a conscience. I just think they go have a Labatt's Blue and get on the plane and go somewhere else. And then Gabe Kapler got ejected, which I thought was awesome. One of his horses went, and then you go. That's how it goes, man. You got to have their back. And Gabe did tonight. That's big bonus points in the clubhouse. Big time bonus points. All right, let's go to who's been waiting the longest. Let's go to Greg in Portland. Greg wants to talk about some base running. What's going on, Greg?
Hi, FT. Everybody's talked about the stuff that I want to talk about.
That's all right. We can talk about it again because people are getting in and out of their cars. Some amazing people listen to all 3 or 4 hours every night, but people are getting in and out. We can repeat whatever's happened already. No big deal.
Okay. Well, first, you covered John Tumpane and the umpiring in general. I had lots of thoughts about that, and I'm really glad you spoke at length about that because I'm a fan, and sure, baseball and everything played it, but I thought it was pretty bad, and you confirmed it from a professional standpoint. He's like John Miller said, thin skin, and the umpires. It's not just baseball, but sometimes you get these guys. It's all about them, and that was my feeling tonight. We're here to watch the players. We're here to watch the game. And the best officiating in all sports is kind of when you're not noticed.
Right.
What do you think?
Absolutely. And here's my take on it, my knee-jerk take right now on live radio, that in my experiences, I think the umpires with the quick fuses are the most insecure on how good they are. I think if you know and you're comfortable and you're solid in your abilities, maybe in whatever you do in life to take it a step deeper, that you don't have a quick fuse when things go wrong. So if I know I'm good on the radio and I have a crappy segment, I don't freak out about it because I've been doing this so long. If I'm an umpire and I've been doing it for a while and I miss a call and I hear the whole bench chirping at me, I know I missed the call and I'm confident that I'm a good umpire and I'm not going to miss it again, and I'll make the adjustment and I won't call it. I've had umpires tell me, like, I missed that FP. Well, once they say that, the argument's over. Like, once an umpire admits that he missed the call or he missed the ball or strike call, there's not much you can argue anymore. It's the best way to diffuse a confrontation. So they're human. And I think for the most part, they do a good job. And if they miss a call, it's not to me the fact that they missed a call. It's how they react to their missed call. It's how they react to maybe a little bit of emotion that's involved in the game. So umpires are going to miss calls. Players are going to miss calls too. I've argued a call, went back in the clubhouse, watched the video, came up my next time and say, my bad, Charlie. That was a good call. I just wanted to let you know that I went and looked at it on video and you had it right and I had it wrong. My bad. That goes a long way with umpires because he tells the whole crew when they're drinking a beer after the game that, hey, FP went and looked and he apologized for arguing that last time. So there's this whole interpersonal relationship that you have with umpires and players that I just don't know if it's the same anymore. I can't really comment on it because I'm not playing. But it would appear from the outside looking in that the fuses are a lot shorter and the relationships aren't as great as they used to be.
Well, boy, you're spot on. Everything you just said the last 2 minutes, I feel the same way, and I think you're on it. You know, you're observing something that's true. You've got experience as a player in sports. I felt the same way. A guy that's insecure, he's got a short fuse because he's not. He's insecure in himself, and you know, so he's like Tim Payne. That guy, you know, I looked at and I said, I don't like this guy. This guy's a hothead, and it just went south.
He's got an odd sort of Star Trek Spock thing going on, doesn't he? He's got a Leonard Nimoy thing going on.
Yeah. I just, and it just like I said, it went bad almost right away. And then he's talking to, I forgot his name, the Toronto manager. You know, the whole thing was not good. Anyway, I was on base running. I'm old school like you, and fundamentals and just all this stuff. If Raph is listening, he'll be nodding his head.
Raph's here, but he rarely listens. He's on the other side of the glass. He listens to everything.
Go back. He's great.
He's the best. I love him.
He is. He's just terrific. Anyhow, I was unhappy that he got the green light. I would have valued that runner, and I just would not have sent Sable unless it was just like the guy fell down or something. You know,
Greg, let me interrupt you real quick.
I thought it was a fundamental. It
was. Just so you know, it was a young mistake. And I don't know if it was a mistake by the staff. I have to do some digging on this because here's the thing. Down by one as the tying run in the ninth inning, that is reserved for the elite of the elite base stealers to have the green light in that situation. When you're down by one, I'm saying.
And were there no outs at that time?
Yeah, I think there was. Here's the thing. Maybe, I'm saying maybe Tyro Estrada with 18 stolen bases. Maybe. That is reserved for, I don't know, Ronald Acuna Jr., who has 36 on the year. Ricky Henderson. Like guys like that. When you're down by one in the ninth, the whole ballpark and both dugouts know you're going. They throw over a couple of times. They might pitch out, and you can still steal the base. That's when you steal a base down by one. It has to be the elite of the elite of the elite. That if they throw you out, as a manager, I tip my cap and say, nice throw. But Blake Sable's not an elite base stealer. Sorry, maybe they were thinking ambush. Maybe they were thinking get your best jump and go here. But that's reserved for a very, very, very small fraternity.
Okay, well, I always like talking to guys that agree with me.
Well, I mean, we can disagree too, but we don't have to agree on anything. But yeah, I'm just saying it like it is. Yeah,
I agree on what you just said, and I'm sitting here thinking the same thing as I'm watching, the ninth inning, and thinking, by God, they may pull this off again. At least get it to extra innings. Okay, well, one last thing. I enjoyed you talking about not taking that third strike. You're just looking for anything at that point. And I think the only reason I could ever get a hit in baseball, and I got cut because I couldn't hit, is I choked up. I mean, you always, that's what you do. And you have more control, and you cannot let something that goes right down the pipe go by. You can't do that.
Yeah, but the game has changed, Greg.
I like how you talked about that.
The theory is to do damage with 2 strikes now, and while we used to choke up and put it in play, they're still thinking we're going to do damage. Greg, I got so many calls I got to get to. Thanks, man. I gave you 7 minutes, man. All right, thanks for calling. I really, really appreciate it. Let's go to who's been waiting longest. Bartender, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, try to make this quick because I'm stepping back into work, but I can have a theory on why these umpires are so the way they are. This is not a flex, but decades ago I was in Greenfield, California, umpiring 8 and under fast pitch girls softball, and every single mom and dad was on the fence with their cell phones videotaping every single pitch. So I think these guys are under so much scrutiny. Everything they've ever done for their entire careers has been broadcast and Instagrammed and now TikTok, and so they just have this sort of showy. I'm not giving an excuse. Honestly, I saw the game tonight, and I was like, okay, that was kind of weird. Like you said, you should get a reputation of being, all you talked about, I agree with. But they've been under so much scrutiny and so much just vitriol. Like I had a parent behind me when I was umpiring say "good eye" before the ball even crossed the plate. And so what I would do the next pitch was call a strike before it even crossed the plate. So these guys, these umpires, I don't know if they did AAU, YouTube. It's just, I think it's this generation of new umpires, like you said, the young kids. I don't know if they want to be seen, but they're so used to being seen and videotaped and posted and made viral that they're just like, I'm done with it. And I'm not giving an excuse. But if I can use one of your quotes, because I already used the bobsled from hell quote from you, but the fastball adjust, I'm going weird guest, adjust. When you get a weird guest in your bar or your restaurant, adjust to how they're doing. So have a great night, FP. Take care.
Bartender, pour me a drink. Pour me a cold one. Tito's Soda. I'll be there, I don't know, in a couple hours. Yeah. It's Thursday. Thursday's a good day to have fun. Because then, we just have the show tomorrow. I can do it hungover. We'll see. Let's go to Rosenbag in San Jose. You're on KNBR. What's going on?
How are you?
I'm amazing. You guys don't know. Like, I love talking to you guys. I say this all the time, but I this whole week has been like, as soon as one call is done, we only have like 6 slots to call in. The rest are for contests or whatever. Maybe we can open it up because as soon as somebody hangs up, it lights up again. You guys have been amazing all week long. What do you got, Rosenbag?
Well, I have one grievance. Is why you always got to put me after bartender, man? Like, that guy's awesome. I appreciate his takes, and I really hope Glenn's doing well himself as well. I am one that does listen to your show if I am driving and everything else, so I appreciate everything you're doing. For not only you, but the people, So,
dude, I have somebody on my Twitter. I'm at Fightin' Hydrant on Twitter if you want to follow me. They said we need a bumper sticker or something for those who listen to all 4 hours of KNBR tonight. We do. And maybe Raph will be the first one to get it because he doesn't listen to all 4 hours, man. I think we should. It's called the hashtag the 4 Hour Club or something like that. Yeah, if you listen to all 4 hours of the show, you should get a quad day candlesticks or some crap. I almost swore. I almost dropped an S-bomb right there. So close. Rosenbag, what do you got?
Hey, I called in, and then Raph was like, hey, what do you want to talk about? I was like, man, there's so much going on. What do you want me to talk about? And he's like, well, the MVP stuff, right? So Raph is awesome. Also want to give a shout-out to him as well. But if we're going to go that route, I'm going to go with Patrick Bailey and maybe Casey Schmidt. I think maybe it might be a threefold thing. I want to give a shout out to all the younger guys, Tyro Estrada as well.
Wait, hold on. I got to reset. For those that didn't hear, and I didn't follow up with this because the phone line just took over the show. Today was game number 81. So we're halfway through the season officially. So I said the show tonight, but the umpire thing kind of took off, that we were going to do a post-game wrap KNBR Tonight style where everybody had to come on and pick their first half player like they do in the wrap. Everybody gets a player. So Rosenbag, I don't know if you heard that, but you can't pick the whole damn team. You got to pick one.
Well, see, it's a threefold because they're all young.
No, it isn't. You got to pick. If you listen to the post-game wrap, you get one.
All right. It's going to be Patrick Bailey just because he was able to go.
Good pick.
Yeah, he was able to go and solidify the catching spot. I mean, after I kind of even forget that guy's name that hurt his elbow, unfortunately, but he was like a defensive wizard. And then Bailey
Roberto Perez, yes.
Yes. There you go. I mean,
forever Giant.
Sorry, I'm a Giants fan. I shouldn't be, sorry, motorcycles crossing. Anyway, I shouldn't be, I should know that. Anyways, but yes, Patrick Bailey. He came in. He solidified the position with all the controversy with, Joey Bart and then Perez, hurting himself, and then who's going to be here, and Sable. I love Sable too. He's awesome as well. But I think that. First of all, I think Casey Schmidt is the one that came in and, kind of lit up the league and was like, or the Giants at least, and was like, went on to his like giant, hitting spree in the beginning. And then they were like, okay, maybe we can bring up some younger players and influence some more life. And then here comes Patrick Bailey. And this guy has been enormous. I mean, he leads the league in defensive metrics coming in since he's been playing. So obviously he's a awesome.
You just watch him, dude. You don't need any metrics. Just watch a guy play. I don't need any math to know that Patrick Bailey's good.
Dude, he just flicks the ball like from his knees, and it's just like there. It's a laser. And then, I mean, his hitting too. I mean, he was on a 9-game hitting streak, and that was the longest any Giants had as a rookie since
it's 10.
Posey.
It's 10 now.
Oh well, 10. I'm sorry. And I mean, Tyro Estrada, I think, kind of led the way last year with him coming up and him being so solid everywhere and being able to go and play around and do multiple positions or play multiple positions. Like Casey Schmidt does the same thing, and it's made everything really smooth. And I don't think they lose anything offensively when they come up. I mean, maybe Casey, kind of has fallen off a little bit just because he was swinging at everything, and now he's like trying to relearn the strike zone and everything else. But the guy can rake, and with Patrick coming up and being able to go and hit the ball as well, there's not a lot of catchers that can come up and catch a whole game and then also be able to do what he does at the plate. So,
Rosenbach, we got to get going, dude. You're talking in circles right now and saying the same thing over and over again, and this is a post-game wrap. We got tons of calls, but I really, really appreciate your points you're making. And I appreciate you calling. Good stuff, man. We'll get back to so on a normal night when there's no calls, I can give you more room, but right now it's full phone line, so I got to bounce. Thanks, Rosenbag. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. I'm not going to yell in the middle of the Safeway now. So
that was classic the other night. I think we still have it. I made Rosenbag in the middle of Safeway say FP Santangelo on KNBR Tonight is the best. Let's go to Phil in Bolinas. Phil, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, FP? It's Phil and Loomis, not Bolinas. So Bolinas is a beautiful area as well.
I love when it's wrong on the screen. Phil from Loomis. Phil, what's going on, man?
It's all good, FP, and I'll try to be pretty quick. First point I want to make is, dude, you got some particles going right now, man. You remind me of 2010. I love getting you back on air last year, and just love your energy, and these last couple nights have been dynamic, man. So thank you. And you and Joe have been absolutely amazing on the radio. I get to, as you say, I get to watch on the radio a lot just with my schedule and stuff. And you guys are awesome, man. Keep it up on that. The point I wanted to make before I pick my player of the game is how about this young pitching staff, man? Winn was awesome tonight.
He was lights out, baby.
That two-run home run killed me, man, because this pitch count was so low, and you knew Cap was going to give him a chance to keep going right there, and Vlad's nasty, so you can't blame him for that. But Winn is absolutely nasty, and I'm not gonna. I mean, these comparisons are completely crazy, but I mean, obviously we have the Canes, Lincecums, Bumgarners coming up in the early 2010s. I mean, Kane was what, 06, 05 or something like that. You know, that guy's a buck. But man, I don't know. I think we might have that coming. Obviously, we haven't seen Harrison up here yet. But Winn is something special, is what it sounds like. And I mean, you know better than any of us that are calling into this show. But I think that dude's got a little bit of nasty in him. You know, we'll see what he turns out to. But I think that Winn and Webb and then throw Harrison in there, that could turn into a pretty nasty threesome right there. And you know, I'm really excited to see those guys go, man.
Phil, I'm all about nasty threesomes. So yeah, let's bring them in. You got Keaton Winn. We'll just say he's Matt Cain, and then when Kyle Harrison comes up, he could be Madison Bumgarner, and we could all go back in the time machine to 2010. How about that? I'm down for that, big time. Yeah, it does have I forgot about the particles, man. Yeah, there's some good things going. The Giants just lost 2 out of 3 in Toronto, and everybody's still really excited about this team, and they should be. This team has a chance to win the National League West, and they definitely have a chance to be in the playoffs. Phil from Loomis, thanks for the call. I don't know where Bolinas is.
Hey, let me, can I get my player of the game in?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Player of the
post-game wrap, player of the first half. Go ahead.
Dude, it's easy. It's the rocket launcher arm, man. It's Camilo Duvall, man. That guy is just absolutely nasty with him. I mean, how many said? He's 24, something around there. Giants aren't the same without him. But hey, thanks, FP. Love you, man.
Good pick,
So
Phil.
he's my guy.
Good pick.
All right, that's a good pick.
That's a good pick. Well, yeah, that's how we're doing it. 808 KNBR. We're at the halfway point of the season. The Giants lose 2-1 to the Blue Jays tonight. Who cares? We're going with your post-game wrap, KNBR Tonight style. You're going to pick one player from the first half that's your pick. Even if you're on hold, which everybody is right now, full phone lines, keep trying. You can make your point, then just like Phil just did from Loomis, on the way out, you got to make a pick. So your calls, we're sticking with it on the Sports Leader.
My guy.
Good pick.
All right, that's a good pick.
Yeah, he was lights out. Obviously, unfortunately, I had to watch a portion of it from inside, but that gave me a different perspective of how well he was executing at the top of the zone with his fastballs, particularly to Brandon Belt, how many good splits he threw. And I think towards the end, you could see, maybe there was a little fatigue setting in because the split didn't have quite as much bite, but overall, I thought it was as good an outing as we could have hoped for.
Ralph, we have one rule on this show. Don't play Gabe Kapler coming back from break because his voice is so damn good. Now it's just like you go from him to a 12-year-old hosting the show. Hi, everybody. FP Santangelo here for TimberTech. Anyways, so everybody's coming on the text line with their picks. And I'm texting back. I tried to, during the break, to text you guys back on the text line. I'm not the best typer in the world, so I'm trying to type in the break, good pick. And it came out GOO space DICK. So I'm sorry if I texted that back to somebody and that's what that spelled instead of good pick. And tighten it up, Santangelo. 808 KNBR is the number. I can't type. And I cut my finger last night. Look at it, Raph. I think I'm going to have to amputate it. I cut my finger on the scissors last night, trying to use the scissors as a box cutter. My girlfriend didn't have a box cutter at her house, so I used scissors and sliced my finger. I'm playing hurt tonight for you people. I'm playing injured. I should be on the IL. I should have taken the night off. I have a cut on my finger. If you're on the all-new KNBR app, look at my Band-Aid on there. I'm playing hurt. This is hard. It's hard being a radio guy. This is really, really hard. Let's go to Ray in Oakland. Ray, you're on KNBR. What's going on? And then Gail, you're up next. I'm sorry. But let's go to Ray first, and then Gail, you're next. Ray, what's up?
Hey, FP, you sliced your finger. It reminds me of, I don't know what year it was, 2014, maybe earlier. Affelt said he was taking some frozen hamburgers apart. I think he had to go on the IL because he cut his hand.
Yeah, they were talking about that on the broadcast tonight. Javi mentioned it, that like you can't afford you can't afford fresh meat. You got to use frozen burgers. And that could be deadly. Have you ever done that where you try to stick a knife in between the frozen burgers? That's
you're
asking.
I'm not a major league pitcher, so I can risk it.
I just throw them down on the granite as hard as I can and hope that they split on their own, is what I usually do. Or there's this thing called defrost on the microwave that works really well, too.
The defrost.
Or warm water. Warm water, too.
We got to talk about, I know we got some callers talking about Sable tonight, but what it reminded me of is just a few games ago, I don't understand the base running blunder. He's on first late in the game. I think it was Bailey hit a chopper down the third base line, and Longoria made a heck of a play stopping that ball. But for some reason, Sable rounds the bag at second, and all of a sudden we have two base runners at third base.
Yeah, that can't happen.
So now, and then we have tonight. My question is, and you're the only person who can answer it here, is when a guy does that, like the game seems to be moving very fast for Sable right now when he's on the bases. When he gets back in the dugout after something like that happens, especially for the second time, what's the vibe in the dugout? What are his teammates like? What's his manager like? Does he get the cold shoulder, or guys like
no?
Go easy on him?
Ray, the way this works nowadays is you give him a hug and say, "Hey, look, this can't happen." And let me explain. I'll break down the thing. First of all, from the 20,000-foot level and the 20,000-foot view, if you have young players, this is going to happen, all right? And we can't forget that Blake Sable's a rookie, too. While Schmidt and Bailey and Winn, the kid tonight, and Walker, the other pitcher, and there's been other young guys that are getting all the attention, Blake Sable's a Rule 5 pick, so he's learning on the fly. That said, even at the lowest levels of the minor leagues, these mistakes can't happen. So what I defended him on the other day was when you're coming around second and the play's in front of you, you don't look at the third base coach. You as a base runner are your own third base coach. You make the decision for yourself. When the play's behind you in center field or the play's behind you in right field, you pick up your coach, pick up the bag, pick up your coach. Like that's the rule of thumb when you're running the bases, when you can't see the baseball. But if it's in left field, it's right in front of you, or at third base in this case, you make the decision. The angle he's at coming around second base, if you see Longoria dive for the baseball, and then you hear the crowd roar, and I've done this before as a base runner, where if I hear the crowd roar, I kind of let them dictate that something good's going on that I can advance. I've done that before, where I've made decisions based on the crowd noise in a home game. He heard the roar of the crowd when he came around second. He was assuming based on the angle, kind of a 45-degree angle that Longoria dove at, he couldn't see if the ball got by him. He couldn't see if he had it, so he kept going. The one mistake he made is you have to roll your head and see what's going on in front of you. You're not going to try to run a yellow light if there's a car stopped already at the stoplight, right? You're going to brake and be behind that car because you don't have a chance to run that yellow light. Same kind of thing. He's got to hit the brakes there. A young mistake, a mistake that you really shouldn't even make at the collegiate level. Tonight, with trying to steal the base down by 1 in the 9th inning when you're down to your last couple of outs, that is reserved for the elite of the elite of the elite to try to steal a base there. I'm talking the Ricky Hendersons of the world. I'm talking the Ronald Acuna Jr.'s of the world, who has 36 stolen bases as we speak. I'm talking the fastest of the fast, the most elite base stealers are allowed to steal a base in the 9th inning when you're down by 1. That's it. Blake Sabol does not fall in that category. So I'm curious to know whether he missed a sign, he missed a red light, he thought he could ambush him. This guy had times to the plate that were conducive to him walking into second base, and he didn't. But for me in that situation, I would love a 2-run homer versus a tie ball game, unless I got Ricky Henderson on first. And then, Ricky, you can go, man. And if Ricky gets thrown out in that situation, I tip my cap and say, nice throw, dude. Let's get him tomorrow.
So no silent treatment in the clubhouse.
No, dude, this is professional baseball, dude. This isn't like a movie. No, there's no silent treatment. There's none of that stuff, man. We love our teammates, whether they're doing well or not. The only time we don't love our teammates is if they're jerks. And there's another word I want to use that I can on the radio, and that happens over the long haul too. Like when you're with each other on a bus, a plane, a clubhouse, 6 months out of the year, you find out everything about everybody. And the only time that there's a silent treatment is if you try to help people and they just don't want to be helped. Then they get the cold shoulder. It's never based on your play, man. If you're playing poorly or you make a mistake, it's my job as a teammate to pick you up and say, sit down right here by my locker. Let's have a beer and let's go over this. You're a young guy. I'm a veteran. Okay. I like crack open a Coors Light and just tell me what you were thinking right there. Well, I thought, this guy's a 1-6 to the plate and I got a good jump and I can get in scoring position. No. Bro, let the game come to you. In the 9th inning, if you have a green light, which you probably shouldn't have, but if you did for some reason have a green light, that's reserved for you better make it, because if you don't make it, like you're hurting the team, and that's reserved for Ricky Henderson, not Blake Sabol. Mm-hmm. And I say, so next time when you get on first, think about looking for a ball in the dirt, a curveball short that hits a catcher's chest protector and advance on that. Think about a wild pitch. Think about leaving that hole open. And then maybe someone shoots that hole and you go first to third. Now we got runners at the corner and we're in business. Don't force the game. Let the game come to you. And I've been seeing a lot with you lately, bro. Like you're trying to force the game. Let the game come to you. We saw that a lot with Jordan Poole this year, right? He wasn't letting the game come to him. He was forcing things, whether it was a drive, whether it was a shot, whether he wasn't paying attention to the clock, whether Steph was wide open. And you can tell, and that's kind of like the one thing you can see with Blake Sabol right now. He's not letting the game come to him. And in his defense, he's young. There's tons of people in the stands. He's excitable. He seems like he's a pleaser, right? Like he wants to please his manager. He wants to please his teammates. I liken him to like a lab. Like he'll run for the ball all day. He just wants to please you. He's a great kid, but hey, with all this excitement with the youth comes, there's the other side of it. And I think with Blake right now on the bases, you're seeing the other side of it.
I guess it makes the rookies with the even keel like Pat Bailey all the more impressive.
Yeah, man. But, I don't know how that works, but yeah, you're right.
On the last note, my pick, first half of the season, he's cooled off, and it's a game of adjustments. Obviously, the league's figured him out, but Schmidt the Mitt came in at a time where Oracle Park was looking more like the Coliseum. People were not excited about the team. All of a sudden, they called him up. He is tearing it up, hitting bombs, had a hit streak going. People started funneling back into Oracle Park, and there was a lot of excitement about the Giants again when they called him up. So I have faith. He'll figure it out again. Maybe not at quite that tear, but Schmidt the Mitt, that's for me.
All right, dude. Thanks for the call. Good pick, Ray. Good pick. Right. Good stuff. All right. Yeah, everyone on the text lines. Everyone's funny on the text line right now. It's not saying good pick. They're saying what I errantly typed. Let's go to Gabe in Brentwood. Gabe, this is your last chance ever on this show. If you start pulling that YouTube crap, we're hanging up on you right now.
Yeah, I'm going to be a good boy this time. FP, you seem to be in a really good mood given the circumstances. Does the Giants' loss of this series constitute any concern for you?
Dude, the week's almost over, bro, and then it's the 4th of July holiday. It's a Thursday night. I don't live and die with every win because I've done this for my life. You can't win every series on the road. You can't win every game on the road. So I'm not. If you get into like Glenn that called crying tonight, basically because he's such a good fan, he's so emotional. You can't get wrapped up in every single game. I don't get down with loss. If they lose 6 or 7 in a row, okay, then we're gonna have a somber show. Like what's going on? But they're playing well. They lost tonight. They lost 2-1. This is a kind of game where Jason Giambi would come into the clubhouse. And he would turn on the music and say, we lost 2-1. So what? We did everything we could to win the game. Flush it. Put the music on. Let's go. Let's party. All right, go ahead, Gabe.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to be too obvious with my first half pick, but I'm going to pick Logan Webb, even though yesterday I got a comment on my you-know-what that said I'm done with Webb. Don't know who did that, but I'm picking Logan Webb.
That's a good pick, Gabe. You know why? Because he's going to have an amazing second half. He had a terrible game the other night, but he's their ace. And trust me, his numbers will be where they're supposed to be at the end of the year. And I think, and I'm probably making excuses for him, and I look through rose-colored glasses because he's my favorite guy and I love the kid. I think he's had some bad luck this year, and his 7-7 is better than 7-7.
Is he starting game 1 in the postseason if the Giants make it?
No, Kyle Harrison is.
That's a pretty bold claim. Thanks, SP.
All right, Dave.
Great being on.
Yeah, thanks for calling again and not being a YouTube dude. I really appreciate you. Gabe, you took a lot of flack the other night when you hung up, bro. But I appreciate you calling back, dude. You're a good sport, and you can call anytime. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
That was Gabe from Brentwood. If you guys missed it the other night, we should have recorded it. He has a YouTube channel. He came on promoting, and I lit him up. I really did. It was like the grouchiest I've been to a caller, and then the text line lit up, and everybody had my back, and blah blah. Gabe's a good guy. We're good with Gabe. We see that? We forgive Gabe. Gabe's a good guy. Gabe from Brentwood, I should say, not Gabe Kapler. Gabe from Brentwood. Let's go one more call before break. Gail has been waiting for a long time. Gail in Madera, you're on KNBR. What's going on, Gail?
Not much. I just wanted to comment on the state of umpires now. It seems like there's way too many umpires that think they're too important in the outcome of the game. I mean, like throwing the guy out tonight. I mean, unless he says something really bad, you got to let something like that slide.
I agree. You got to. It's an emotional game, and JD doesn't even swear. I know this for a fact. I'm around him, so I don't know what was said per se. But yeah, it's an emotional game, and if a guy has a reputation of being a good dude, you allow them a little latitude there, and you allow them to vent a little bit. And if they turn back around and get in your face, okay, you're gone. But he was walking away. That was a short fuse.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that. And the thing is, way too many games are being decided by officials now. And a good official should never be heard from or seen or noticed in a game. You know? The
one thing I will say, Gail, is like from an empathy standpoint, and I know nobody wants to hear this right now, but they have a lot on their plate this year that they haven't had before, and maybe they're a little more high-strung based on they have to watch the pitch clock. They have 18 different signals they have to get. They have a buzzer in their back pocket. They have a lot going on that they haven't in the past, so maybe they're just edgy. Maybe it's like when you drink too much coffee or something, that they're edgy already because they have a lot going on. But yeah, it was about John Tumpane tonight, and it should never be about the umps.
Yeah, no game should ever be decided by an umpire's call. It should be the player should decide the outcome of the game.
I agree.
And I think Winn should definitely be in the starting rotation from now on, or at least the next few starts, because he pitched lights out tonight. He just made that one mistake.
Yeah, ideally I would love to have a third pitch, because now he kind of profiles more of as a reliever for me that throws 99 with a nasty split. That's like closer land. Like he's a potential closer someday. But like if he had a changeup or something, or a cutter to go with his his 99 and his split. I think he would profile more as a starter. But, yeah, I like what I saw tonight. I'd love to see him get another chance for sure.
Yeah, me too. And my player would be Patrick Bailey.
Yes.
Because the Giants have been energized from him. I mean, he's getting more questionable strikes for the pitchers, which makes it a lot better for them. And his defense is just awesome. I mean, it's crazy. A lot of people are bringing up Buster Posey things, and that's amazing for anybody to be mentioned in that category.
I'll say this, and this could be blasphemous on 50,000 watch. I watched Buster Posey as a rookie, and he could not frame like Patrick Bailey. I thought Buster as a rookie was rough back there. I thought do you remember when he had this thing where he stood up on balls in the dirt? He didn't get down and block them. He would stand up out of his crouch. They would go through his legs and go to the backstop. He could always throw. He could always hit. But Buster Posey catching as a rookie his first couple years wasn't the one that eventually we all grew to love. I would say defensively, Patrick Bailey's way ahead of Buster Posey his rookie year. Way ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you. And he's doing everything you could ask of a catcher, to help the Giants win, and that's amazing for me.
Yeah, I don't know about Buster's game calling skills as a rookie. I would say that if I had to guess based on what I've heard, like in 2010, he called a hell of a game. But I don't think he was the soft-hand framer guy that he turned into, and I definitely know he wasn't a blocker. He had the cannon because he was a closer at Florida State, and I think he played shortstop, too, at Florida State a little bit. So he was always athletic back there, and he could hit from the jump, and his offense is way ahead, I think, of Patrick Bailey's at this stage. But I think, and this is just an educated opinion, that I think Bailey's framing skills and his throwing skills are way ahead of Buster Posey. His blocking skills, everything, way ahead of Buster Posey at this point.
I agree. I agree with that.
All right, Gail, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. 808 KNBR is the number. The topic on hand tonight is, as the Giants lose 2-1, they drop the series. Kind of a sidebar, really. The topic on hand is, this was game 81. We're at the halfway point for the Giants. We're doing a KNBR Tonight post-game wrap. You can call with a take on anything that happened in the game, but you have to end your call with who you think is the first half player of the year. One. You get a pick. It's like the post-game wrap. We'll continue that on the Esports Leader.
Crawford and Wade. There they go. The pitch is strike 3 called. And a very low strike. And Davis is very unhappy with John Tumpane, and he's just been ejected from the game.
In that particular situation, I was grinding first and second. I think it was 2 outs at the time. And just to get that pitch down in the zone, I just, I lost it a little bit. Probably said some words that I probably shouldn't have said. And it cost us me getting out of the lineup. It cost our team. I think Schmidt got up again, and I think 2 more innings in the first and second situation. But I thought it was a ball. Looking back at it, it was a ball. And I think I just frustrated in a sense where it was a rubber game and it would have been bases loaded with Pat Bailey coming up.
So what if he said bad words? I don't think baseball players have a filter, and I don't know how I've never said a bad word on the air because I swear like a sailor off the air. 808 KNBR is the number. Got a couple spaces open on the phone lines all of a sudden, so if you want to chime in on this, Giants lose 2-1, by the way. They lose a series of the Blue Jays. They cruise to New York. Quick flight, by the way, from Toronto to New York. So tonight was what it is. JD has a good point. If you're one of the better players, you can't get thrown out of a game. You can't because you're hurting your ball club. And you have to control your emotions, and he didn't tonight. But I still think he should have been given a little bit of a longer fuse, leash, whatever you want to say, before he gets thrown out. It looked like he was walking away from the umpire. Usually you can't hear in those situations because the crowd is cheering strike 3. I don't know how or what John Tumpane heard, but they weren't that close. JD did go back and get his money's worth, saying that was 2. That was 2. You missed 2. And then Gabe talked about there being a balk in the middle of that, too. And I thought Bassett was balking all night. He kept lifting up his foot, and the one that was supposed to be on the rubber or engaged with the rubber. And I watched him balk all night long, and they never called it. So I understand what the frustration was, but JD knows he's a smart kid that you can't get thrown out of that game because his situation came up in big instances later in the game. The 559, before I get to all the calls, the 559 chiming in, fan since early 60s, Wade is the first half MVP, case closed. Tough to argue with that. That is a good pick, sir, ma'am, whoever picked that.
Good pick. All right, that's a good pick.
That's a good pick. And if you missed it, we're doing a post-game wrap first half edition KNBR tonight. So tonight was game number 81. We're officially halfway through the season. There's 81 games left. Who is your first half pick if this were the post-game wrap on the show tonight? The 818 chiming in, you're hilarious tonight. I have no idea why. The 559 chiming in, no, that's not worth reading. Thank you, though. Now, let me see. Can we switch to 1-2 Cobb Webb for obvious reasons? Bartender. No, you can't be reactive like that. Logan Webb's your ace, man. He's going to figure it out. JD was holding 2 fingers up when he got thrown out because the pitch clock expired 2 times before he was rung up, and Bassett balked in that at-bat. Okay, that makes sense. And I thought I saw that too. So, yeah, apparently the pitch clock was running down and he balked. And there was a lot to be upset about. I think JD was talking there in that clip we just played about the ball being low. That's what I saw. So let's go to the phone calls. Let's go to Susan in Scottsdale, one of my favorites. Susan, how you doing?
Hey, SB, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Well, I wanted to give a shout out first and foremost to Mike from Oregon. I was watching the game and thinking about him Saturday. I'm so glad you guys met. He inspires me too. So that was great.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling. And how are you doing? How's Scottsdale doing?
It's toasty out here. It's 116 this weekend. Yay.
116. It wasn't it was freezing when I was there in spring training. I remember wearing my jacket. Remember we had the thunderstorm when I was doing the shows from the ballpark?
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is lovely. Summer here is, you just wonder why the heck you moved here.
Have you had a chance to get to any Giants games, or you've been in Scottsdale the whole time?
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of games. Not in San Francisco. I've never been to San Francisco. But I
Susan,
have seen a lot of Giants.
If you get here, just like I left tickets for Mike, I'll leave tickets for you. If you come to San Francisco, let me know. We'll get you to a ball game.
No, that's sweet. Thank you. I wanted to do a shout out to Keaton Winn, a good Iowa boy. I'm originally from Iowa, so I was thrilled to see that he's doing great, and hopefully he'll be a good asset to the team.
Oh my gosh! So I did the game when he had his debut in St. Louis, and I'm on the radio, and we have the TV monitors in the radio booth. And when he came in, NBC Sports Bay Area, and the tremendous producer Jim Lynch that does the shows they had a shot of his family, and I don't know if you remember this, but they were all crying. I mean, his mom was sobbing, his dad was teared up. I'm trying to call the action. And I can't look at the monitor because I'm getting choked up because they're getting choked up. And the story goes, I don't know if the listeners know this, they probably do, that Keaton Winn had never been to a Major League ballpark in his life until his Major League debut.
Oh, wow.
So he had never set foot in one as a kid, as a fan. So could you imagine like going to Busch Stadium in St. Louis, looking up and looking around and going, oh, okay, this is what it's like. It's an incredible story for a kid that grew up playing baseball, that got all the way to the big leagues in America, because obviously a lot of kids that they don't have that opportunity, that aren't in this country. But like he was in Iowa. The Cubs are right down the road. I don't even know where Des Moines is from where he grew up. But like it's just shocking to me that he had never seen a big league ballpark. And it's so cool. His story is so cool that he's doing so well. He's got the look. He's got the stuff. I think he's going to be here for a long time.
He came from a small town called Ollie. I mean, it's so small, even me as an Iowan had to look it up. I mean, that's how small it is. But it's near Iowa City. I went to University of Iowa, so it's close to Iowa City on the eastern side. But look at Iowa. I mean, we've had some great athletes. Kurt Warner, I mean, George Kittle. I know he wasn't born in Iowa, but he grew up there. And then Roger Craig. I don't know if you knew. He was from Davenport. So we have had a lot of good people.
Did you say? Did you mention
really
Brock?
Shown their stuff.
Did you mention Brock Purdy?
Oh, did I forget Brock?
Iowa State.
Did Brock grow up in Iowa?
No,
I don't know if he grew up in Iowa.
But he went to Iowa State. Does that count?
Well, I went to University of Iowa, so I mean, you know, I love him because he's with the Niners, but I don't know about the Cyclone thing.
Susan, I think of two things when I think of Iowa, because I've driven through the state. I did play in Des Moines in AAA as a visiting player with the Cubs, but I think of two things when I think of Iowa. I think of like rolling hills with cornfields, and I think of tornadoes. Those are the two things that come to mind when I think of Iowa.
Well, that's about what it is. Yeah, I remember many summers downstairs in the basement with the tornado warnings. Yep. Not a good thing.
It's one of my biggest fears in life. I grew up with my reoccurring dream was tornadoes were chasing me. And as a kid, I grew up in Michigan, and my mom and dad would put us in the basement when you heard the sirens wail. And those sirens are in my dreams. And I've had a reoccurring dream my whole life that a tornado's coming to get me. And for some reason, they know how you you face your fears. I've always wanted to be a tornado chaser. I love severe weather. Like when I've played in cities with severe weather, I'm the one in the dugout, or I'm the one on the front porch watching the thunderstorm, watching the hail, and kind of secretly hoping for a tornado that does no damage because I want to see the funnel cloud. I've only seen one my whole life, and it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're scary, and we're having too many of them in this country right now. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. I don't want to get into the politics of it all, but yes, we are having too many. Susan, I need some cupcakes, man. Send some cupcakes to KNBR, would you?
Well, I will. But next time when you're in Scottsdale next year, I want to come and meet you and say hi to you.
I'd love to meet you, Susan. Thanks for calling. Thanks for being a loyal listener to KNBR and KNBR Tonight, and just being a good friend. Like I said, offer stands. You get to San Francisco, I'm getting you to a game.
You're sweet. That's my bucket list, to go to San Francisco. So I hope to go.
All right. Well, you're the one. I'm joking. The city's.
And by the way, I'm picking Patrick Bailey, but for my pick for the year, for the half of the year, because I think he's done pretty good in every game he's been in.
Good pick. Good pick.
All right, that's a good pick.
That's a good pick, Susan. I appreciate it. All right, let's go to Dave on his cell. Thanks, Susan. Let's go to Dave on his cell. Dave, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, FP, great to hear you on the phone again. I mean, on the radio. Just wanted to say, the pick that I have is kind of a dark horse, but it's Ryan Walker, and he reminds me of Ryan Vogelfond. I think he saved the Giants bullpen this past road trip. He's been doing really well, in the positions that they put him in.
Good pick.
All right, that's a good pick.
That's a good pick, Dave. That's a good pick. Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with anybody in the bullpen right now. Dave, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. There's, do you got anything else you want to chime in on?
No, I think you hit it on the head with the pitch count, and I hope these umpires get reviewed during the All-Star break, and I don't think they ever get demoted, but hope they never get to say anything in the playoffs. And one last thing from last night, I didn't know with the no hitter, the Yankees, they have four pitchers, the Don Larson, the David Wells, the David Cohn, and Domingo Hamon last night. Remind me of the song, from the 80s, the do, the da.
Yeah, all right, Dave. Good pick on the song, too. It's a good pick. Good pick. That's a good pick. That's a good pick, Dave. All right, we're going to get in trouble for this whole segment. Somebody on the text line right now has a really good one that I was going to mention. I'll come up with my pick, by the way. I owe you that. But this is my leader in the clubhouse. I know there's Lamont Wade Jr. and Tyro Estrada. You can't go wrong. But the 650 chimes in. The no-brainer answer to your first half MVP is Tyler Rogers. He's got a 1.76 ERA. He's got 17 holds. Every time he comes in, the other night he came in for an inning and 2/3 and struck out 4. He's been lights out. And last year, I mean, if I'm being full disclosure on 50,000 watts, when he came in, I was like, oh no. I was. A lot of times last year, I was like, oh no. How's he going to get through this? His stuff wasn't as crisp last year for whatever reason. I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, if it was wear and tear from 2021. But he's back, boy. And I think if we're talking about all-stars and the bullpen's been their most valuable part, Tristan Beck came in and threw 2 shutout innings tonight. You have to recognize one of the best bullpens in baseball in the all-star game. And I think Camilo and Tyler Rogers should both be all-stars. So 100% agree with you on that. He faces, this text goes on to say, he faces the toughest 3 through 5 hitters in every lineup, every winnable game, and shuts the door. Doval is there, obvious, too. But the answer to your question has to come from the pen, and it's Mr. Rogers, bro. Really, really good text. You nailed that. 100% nailed that. 650. I want to give you a lot of credit because you're thinking like I'm thinking. Let's go to Arthur. Arthur, you're on KNBR. What's going on, Arthur?
Hey, FP. Not too much. What's going on with you?
Do you remember the movie, Arthur, about the alcoholic dude? I think it was Dudley Moore, and the theme song from that movie was "If you get caught between the moon and New York City, the best that you can do."
Yeah, I was teased a little bit about that. I was in second grade at the time, bro.
And everyone's like, "Arthur's an alcoholic in second grade. He's an alkie." Were the kids saying that? No, probably not.
My late father, his name was Arthur, and he used to imbibe a lot.
Who's your first half MVP, Arthur?
I don't know if he's eligible. How about Luis Matos? Before he's in a cold slump right now, but of course,
Yeah, the only thing I'd argue with that on Arthur is I don't know if he's been up enough and contributed enough yet. It's been a good story. I love the kid. I think he's tremendously talented. But what I'm seeing right now, and I keep saying if I'm being honest, which I always am, is he has warning track power is what I'm seeing right now. He's flying out to the wall and to the track a lot. And I don't know if those were home runs in AAA and they're not here. But I'm wondering if he has the pop that has been advertised because I'm not seeing it yet.
One home run,
and he doesn't have to hit home runs. But I'm not seeing the Ronald. I compared him to Ronald Acuna Jr. with his swing plane and his approach, but I'm seeing a lot of really well hit balls to the warning track and to the fence. And I don't know what the dimensions are in all the AAA parks in the Pacific Coast League, but maybe those were home runs there. They're just not home runs here yet.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe he'll catch up.
Yeah.
Or teams are scouting him now, probably. Did you ever play with somebody that gently put their helmet and their bat down, then they got in the umpire's face?
That's a good question. Probably not. Are you talking about JD tonight?
Yes. Uh-huh.
No, I don't. Usually it's a helmet toss and a bat spike, and then you turn around, and if you're going to get thrown out, you get your money's worth. If you make that decision and you cross that line, and we all kind of know what that line is to cross or not to cross, I don't think I was ever ejected at the major league level. I was ejected in AAA once, and I was ejected in A-ball once. I was only ejected twice my whole career, and they were both in the minor leagues.
Mm-hmm. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
and,
just...
for Susan,
what's that? What's that, Arthur?
For Susan, two more from Iowa. Mike Boddicker and Cal Eldred too.
Oh, all right. I remember Cal Eldred. Arthur, thanks for the call, man. Thanks for being a good sport for me teasing you about the movie. Good stuff. I appreciate you calling. Appreciate you calling the show. Yeah, I mean, my AAA one's a good story since it's story time with FP. I was in Sacramento. I got released by the Dodgers. The A's signed me, so I was playing for the River Cats, sleeping in my home, my own home, which never happens during the season. And I was in Sacramento for about 3 months before I got called up to the A's. And I was kind of frustrated that I was in AAA. And there's a fine for throwing equipment in AAA back then. I don't know if there is now, but I struck out on a 3-2 fastball that was literally at my ankles. It was the catcher's glove hit the ground, and I got rung up. And I go, dude, are you kidding me? That's ball 4, bro. And he looked at me and goes, it's a good pitch, FP. And I took my helmet off, and I threw it like a soccer throw-in back to the dugout. And he goes, that's a $25 fine. I go, $25? I mean, full disclosure, I was making $1 million from the Dodgers at the time. I go, $25? That's it? $25? Took off a batting glove. I threw it. And he goes, that's 25 more. I took off the other batting glove, threw it. I picked up my bat and threw it. I got up to 100, and then I finally got thrown out of the game. So then I got back to the dugout after I got ejected, and there was like coffee mate and coffee cups and like a coffee pot, and I just started throwing everything on the field. And the coffee mate was a tremendous effect. It looked like a fogger, like a smoke screen. When I threw the coffee mate and it landed, it just went a big poof of white. It was outstanding. And the crowd was cheering, and I was into it. And I was like, here's another 25, another 25. Run up the tab. Here's 25. I started throwing bats and helmets. I don't know. I think it got up to like $300 or $400 fine. And then the next day, Bob Guerin was my manager, and he made me bring the lineup card up to home plate. And when I got there, they were all laughing. They're like, FP, that was awesome last night. The umpires were like, that was awesome. Like, if you're going to get ejected, that was great. And then you had to walk in Sacramento at Rayleigh Field or whatever it is now. I'm not sure what they call it. You have to walk out the left field line because the clubhouse is behind the fence. So I had this long stroll with my bag over my shoulder and just waving to the crowd, like my parade wave to a standing ovation on the way out. So like that way. And then I got ejected in A-ball one time for, I don't know, Tony Randazzo. He's still a big league ump, ejected me in A-ball. Let's go to Johnny Washington. Johnny Washington, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Yeah, hey, FB, Johnny Cakes in Washington.
Johnny Cakes, what's going on?
I'm going to give you a $25 fine just for that story.
That is funny. That might be deserving of a $25 fine. I cannot disagree with you.
Hey, I just got to call you on. I'm in Washington. It's still light out here. I'm cooking burgers, and I heard something about Buster Posey comparison to Bailey.
Defensively, I said Patrick Bailey's ahead of Buster Posey right now in his career, and he is.
So I had to look it up because I heard it the other day or read it. How many pass balls did Buster Posey have in his career? And I looked it up. 27 pass balls in over 9,000 innings.
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
He's a good friend.
It's one of the most incredible stats I've seen in baseball. But yeah, I'm talking about Buster Posey's rookie year in 2010. His framing skills, his blocking skills, his throwing skills. I'll take Patrick Bailey right now over Buster Posey behind the plate. Offensively, I'll take Buster Posey all day. And then Buster Posey evolved. Okay. He evolved into the catcher that's Hall of Fame.
I'll give you that for rookie year, but career-wise, we'll see what Patrick Bailey can bring. But can't beat that. 27 pass balls and over 9,000 innings.
No, and if you remember his rookie year, and I remember it vividly because I was doing the pre and post for the Giants, he would stand up on a ball in the dirt. He wouldn't go down to his knees and block it. Maybe that was smart and why he caught so long, but he would literally come out of his crouch, stand up, and then try to stick his glove down to block a ball, and they were all going to the backstop. It was kind of like a habit I saw early in his career. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a Hall of Famer and one of the greatest Giants ever, and we all love Buster Posey. We all miss Buster Posey, but I'm just saying defensively with framing ability, I don't know that I've ever seen a 23-year-old kid that can frame like Patrick Bailey. I think Buster may have a better arm, but I'm talking about catch and release and the quickness and accuracy that I've seen with Bailey. He threw out Mookie Betts at third. That sidearm sling the other night on a pitch down and away, I don't know that I've ever seen a guy do that effectively to throw a guy out. I'm really high on him as a defender right now, and I think he's more advanced at this stage than Buster Posey defensively. I think when it's all said and done, you can't argue with Buster Posey's resume. He's won 3 World Series. He's a Hall of Famer, MVP, Rookie of the Year, all that stuff. Obviously, I don't know if Patrick Bailey projects to be that 10 years from now. Only time will tell. I'm just talking about defensive ability out of the gate. I think he's more advanced than Buster Posey.
Well, I think we just agreed on something, and I appreciate that. You know, talking to you is like talking to a friend. I appreciate it. And check out my YouTube channel, Underwater
Basket Weaving with Johnny Hotcakes. I love it. Thanks for calling, buddy. All right, so we're going to get to all the text messages. You want to keep chiming in on the phone. The Giants lose 2-1 tonight. I don't know why I'm in such a good mood. I still believe in this team, even though they lost a series. They're not going to win every road series. They're not going to win every game on the road. That 10 straight was unbelievable. It was historical. It was the first time in Giants history that they won 10 straight. San Francisco Giants history that they won 10 straight on the road. The last time that happened was the 1952 New York Giants. So they lose 2 out of 3 in Toronto. They move on to the Mets. I always thought Citi Field was a tough place to win, man. I know the Mets are struggling right now. On the other side of the break, we're going to stick with this a little bit longer. Who is your first half MVP? It was game number 81. The Giants are 45-36. It was game number 81 this year by my math. And we're doing kind of a KNBR Tonight post-game wrap. If you had to pick one player in the first half and you only get one, we're doing a wrap. Who would you pick? I want to move on to maybe who's your all-stars too. So your calls and lots of text messages to get to on the text line next on the Sports Leader.
Crawford and Wade. There they go. The pitch is strike three call. And a very low strike. And Davis is very unhappy with John Tumpane. And he's just been ejected from the game. And here comes manager Gabe Kapler out to get in the face of John Tumpane. And I think the idea being the guy can be a little bit angry. And now Gabe Kapler has just been ejected from the game. Well, John Tumpane is letting his thin skin show for everybody to see.
Up between the moon and New York City. The best that you can do. The best that you can do is fall in love. This is about a guy that got they were circling the airport or something and he fell in love with the girl sitting next to him. This is the theme song from Arthur. Well played, Rap. The other song that I recently figured out what it meant is If You Like Pina Coladas. So if you can find that, that's a song about two people trying to cheat on each other. And they put out person ads. Remember there was person ads? You go in the section of the paper and there's person ads and you're trying to meet somebody. Now it's like Tinder or whatever, or Hinge, or I don't even know, dating apps, Bumble. And then it was I love that song. If You Like Pina. Yeah, it's one of my, good guilty pleasure yacht rock song. And it's about two people that take out an ad and they're like, wait a minute, we both like the same thing. Let's meet for lunch. Obviously, it was before cell phones. Let's turn it up. Let's listen to the lyrics. This is such a good song, by the way. Until I found out you guys are being shady. Tired of my lady. They've been together too long. She's a worn out recording? Can't say that about your girlfriend. Next to her? If you're sleeping right next to me, well, roll over. What's the doings of a cape? Keep going. Why not? I'm sticking with this bit. So, he's looking in the paper next to his wife, and he sees this ad. Of course you didn't, you cheater. It does, loser. She's not an old lady. We'll spice it up. Try a three-way. Okay. Okay, he took out an ad. Here it is. Whoa. I am too. Wait, that's your favorite bar. What a loser. You met your wife at a bar that was right next to you in bed. That's all you had to do is like maybe have a talk about things. Yeah, your wife's about to walk in. And you're like, oh crap. A smile, she should kick your ass. Yeah, oh, look at it. What a coincidence. That's not how it went. She threw a beer bottle at your head when she walked in. Oh, now they're happy. Anyways, enough of that. That was fun. We should break down other songs and make that a segment moving forward. I don't even know where the hell I was going with that segment. Sidetracked right now. Having too much fun on a Thursday night. Oh, I want to talk about the ejection. So we started the show with that, and obviously there's new listeners every hour, so I want to kind of recap what happened with that and kind of what goes on between the player and the umpire and the relationships that you used to have. I don't think it's the same. I don't know because I'm not playing, but just from the outside looking in, it seems like it's a more sterile relationship. There's a big turnover in umpires this year. I think 12 umpires retired. There's 12 new umpires. Obviously, they paid their dues. They worked hard, and they do the best they can. The whole umpires suck thing I've never been a fan of because umpires are people too. And back in the day, you used to build relationships with these guys as a player and just talking to them. Is he a good dude? I mean, they're feeling you out constantly on what kind of a person you are. And what kind of a person you are as a player goes a long, long way. It's not so much your average or how much money you're making or your status, although that does have some play in a baller or striker. It used to before the square box and them getting graded. If you were a good dude, you know, you would get the benefit of the 50-50 calls. If you were a good dude, you would get the benefit of maybe a longer leash with an argument. As long as you didn't direct it right at the umpire and say, you suck, and make it personal. You could say, that sucks. You missed the call. That's terrible. But as soon as you say, they're terrible, you're gone. Like, you're terrible. Gone. See it. Magic words. You can swear a little bit to an extent, but there always used to be this dynamic between the player and the umpire where they knew you. They knew your kids. They would see them run around when they came out of the clubhouse. I don't think there's that relationship anymore or that common sense factor built in that, hey, this is an emotional game. This is a big part of the game. J.D. Davis was grinding through an at-bat. There was some clock violations. There was a bad call. There might have been a balk in the middle of this whole thing. All hell was breaking loose. And J.D. got thrown out. J.D.'s is his first ever ejection in the big leagues. So that tells you right there that maybe John Tumpane should have been more situationally aware of the fact that J.D. Davis is a good dude. Now, if J.D. dropped an F-bomb and said F you, MFer, or whatever, he deserved to get thrown out of the game. So I don't know what was said. J.D. said as much after the game that he maybe said a word he shouldn't have. But still, if a guy's walking away from you in the heat of battle and he doesn't turn and get in your face, to me, there's no reason to throw a guy out. And with these new umpires now, I just don't think there's this common sense level that you throw a guy like, say, I don't know, Juan Soto out of a game in the second inning when everybody came to see that guy and not you. When you throw a big player out of a game, I think there has to be just a little thought process to like, okay, I know this is not ideal, but I'm really secure in my ability to umpire. And if this guy wants to chirp for a little bit, I'm going to let him chirp for a little bit. And the old, as soon as they take off their mask, that's when you stop. So if you ever watch a game and you see the umpire flip his mask off real quick, that's telling you hit the brakes on whatever argument you have going. When the mask comes off, you stop. You keep going when the mask comes off for another like 5 or 10 seconds, you're getting run. There was a time in my rookie year on a 3-2 pitch, I ran out of the box. It was ball 4. I slammed my helmet down the turf in Montreal. It bounced up higher than I was. I didn't get ejected because I don't think the umpire knew if I was pissed about the call or pissed that I didn't swing at it. So Bruce Fremming, one of the older, grouchier umpires in the history of the major leagues, was the first base umpire that night. He followed me all the way out to center field from the first baseline. He was right on my tail. And he was saying, who the hell do you think you are? You can't do that. You're a rookie and you just spiked your helmet. He goes, turn around. And he's following me. This is going from the first baseline all the way out to second base diagonally, halfway down the first baseline, diagonally by the mound, out to second base. I'm getting past second base. Now I'm on the outfield cut, and I'm still walking to center field. Somebody hands me my glove and my hat, and I'm walking out. He follows me the whole way. Turn around. I just want you to turn around. If you turn around, you're out of this game. Just MFing me all the way out to center field. Everybody saw it. I was a rookie. David Segui grabbed me in the dugout after that inning and said, hey, tomorrow, get here early, go into the umpire's room and apologize to him. He goes, I know you're pissed, whatever, but these guys could make it really hard on you as a rookie if you get a reputation. He goes, trust me, you don't want to get that reputation. Every call will go against you. Every 50-50 call will go against you. The umpires have conferences every single week. They talk. And you don't want, you're a nice guy. You don't want this reputation. So the next day, I think it was right after BP, between BP and the game, the umpires get there about 6 o'clock, maybe 5:30 for a 7 o'clock start. I went and knocked on the door. There's Bruce Fremming sitting in his sliding shorts. I'll never forget it. And Bruce is one of the most iconic umpires in the history of the game. He's right up there with Joe West, just a short little round guy that was always grouchy, but a really fair, nice guy. And I went in and I said, hey, Bruce, man, I'm sorry about yesterday. I lost my temper. I looked at the call. It could have gone either way, but I can't do that. I'm not established enough, and I apologize. And he called me Sandy. Nobody's ever called me Sandy before, ever, or since. And he goes, Sandy, you're better than that. We know you're not like that. You're big as scratchy, like smoker's whiskey voice. Hey, we know you're better. From all the strike calls probably over the years, right? That his voice was just frazzled. And I apologized, and we were good. And then I got a reputation from then on as being a good dude. And I don't know if I got calls or not. I remember, I'm trying to think, Ed Rapawano was an umpire that always asked me for a dip of Copenhagen. And unfortunately, that's a bad habit that I used to have that I've kicked, and I've been 22 years sober of nicotine, which, trust me, it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do, was quit that. But he would always ask me for a dip. And it was getting to the point where he's just basically mooching. I'm like, don't you? And then I thought, well, it could be the barter system. So one night I said, hey, if I give you a dip tonight, so like I'm running low, I better get a call tomorrow. Like this has got to be good enough for a call on a close pitch tomorrow night. And he goes, I kid you not. Next night, he was at first base. I was running out to center field. I gave him my can, which it was about a half a can. And he thanked me profusely about I gave him $100. So next night, 3-2 pitch, lead off the game's right there. I lock up. He calls it ball 4. And I get to first base and I kind of peek at him and he wouldn't look at me. He would not make eye contact. And I was kind of looking around the corner, I forget if it was Bagwell playing first. So I'm looking around the corner to make eye contact with him. And he wouldn't make it. So, yeah, it bought me a call. So I bribed an umpire once. Sue me. Let's go to Gigi in Redwood City. Gigi, who is your first half MVP?
Yeah, this is Gigi.
That's I think
Gordon.
that's. Oh, all right. It says Gigi on there.
Yeah, those are my first two initials, and if I'd ran with my first two initials, imagine the grief I would have. So anyway, FP, good to talk to you. I wanted to tell you that your discussion about the minor leagues you had the other night, I couldn't call in, but that was some of the most compelling and fascinating radio I had heard in a long time. It was just wonderful. Learning about the minor leagues, learning about what it takes to get to the big leagues. I mean, you're talking to somebody that got cut from freshman baseball at 14 years old, and I thought when I was 8 years old, I thought I was a shoo-in for the big leagues. But at any rate, I wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Minors.
I don't think the minors gets enough play, and I know it's probably not a move the needle ratings thing, but I think this year especially it was relevant because there's been so many young players to come up for the Giants, and I just don't think a lot of fans know, and it's not your fault. It's nobody's fault. It's not like I'm talking down to anybody. I don't think a lot of fans know what goes into the different levels of the minor leagues, what it takes to get from level to level, and what it takes to get to the big leagues, the sacrifices you make and the money you make and the friends you make along the way, and how it really looks tough from the outside, but from the inside, you're playing baseball for a living, and it's not all that bad. But, yeah, I broke it down if you missed it from what's the difference between low A ball and Eugene, Oregon? What's the difference between San Jose and Eugene? How do you get from Eugene to Richmond? How do you get from there to Sacramento? How do you get from Sacramento to the big leagues? And what it takes and the behind the scenes with the coaches and how much money they make and how they're just doing it for the love of the game and how much money the kids make. And just basically you're doing it for a chance to get to the big leagues.
It was fascinating when you mentioned the lighting and the backdrops and the little things. These are little things that people are. I'm soaking it in. I'm loving it.
Gigi, there was some fields I played at in April where the batter's eye, the background to hit in, were trees that were still not in bloom yet because it wasn't spring. So they were dead winter trees. So basically the baseball's coming out of the sky and there's no backdrop and you couldn't see. There was other ballparks where the lighting was like candles. They might as well just lit a bunch of candles. And then you get to the big leagues and the backdrop is pitch black or dark green. And it's huge, bigger than two drive-in movie theaters. You see the ball come out of the guy's hands. You can see the commissioner's name on the baseball, for God's sakes. The lighting's so good. And I always felt like it was easier to hit in the big leagues because of the lighting, the backdrops, the pitchers were around the plate. The bats were a lot better. The batter's boxes were manicured. They were clay. You could dig in and get a toe hold. Even though you're facing the best pitchers in the world and the best defenders in the world, for some reason, I just was a better hitter in the majors than I ever was in the minors.
It's so interesting to hear. Okay, so as far as my picks, I've got to go with a three-headed monster, or maybe two and a bonus. J.D. Davis, the defense at third, fantastic. He's been huge. Lamont Wade Jr., darn good defense and getting on base almost every other time, it seems like. So those are the two. And then the bonus, Camino Doval, much improved.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah, good pick. Those are good picks. Right? For anybody that's listening, just tuning in, we're doing a halfway through the season post-game wrap on KNBR tonight. So if you call in, I want to hear who you think is your player for the first half of the season for the Giants. I haven't given mine yet. I've been kind of sitting on it for a while, but I'll give it to you here in a second. Anything else you want to get out there?
No, just thanks, and I'd like to hear all these other callers with their good takes. These other callers are fantastic, too.
All right, Gigi, thanks, Ben. I appreciate the call. Let's go to Ramon in Santa Rosa. Ramon, you're on KNBR.
Anything else you want to get out there?
Ramon, turn down your radio.
No, just thanks. And call me.
Ramon, turn down your radio. This is God speaking in your car. Turn down your radio. Is Ramon there? Ramon! All right. We gave Ramon 3 tries.
How you doing, IT?
Oh, there you are, Ramon. Go ahead, buddy. You're on KNBR.
I was going to ask you, do you play with Mark Carrion?
I didn't. I didn't.
Late 90s?
I did not play with Mark. I think I played against him, but I never was on the same team as Mark.
What about with Tony Torcato or Marvin Bernard? I remember you guys used to be the fire hydrant.
Yeah, I did play with Marvin. He's still a good friend of mine. He's a wonderful human being. We platooned in center field that whole year. He played against righties. I played against lefties.
What about Armando Rios? I'm from Nicaragua, so Marvin Bernard is the manager of the Nicaraguan team.
I know Marvin still texts me all the time when I'm on the air. I miss him. He's one of the all-time great teammates in the history of baseball. He always had a smile on his face. He was a good dude. I love the way he played the game. One of my favorite all-time teammates. Armando Rios, not so much, and I'll just leave it at that.
Do you remember Tony Torcato?
I do. I think he went to Woodland High School, right? He's a local guy from the Sacramento area, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Do you know what happened to him? I mean, he was supposed to be the next Willie May, you know?
I don't know if he's supposed to be the next Willie Mays, Ramon, but I don't know. I can't remember. Anything else you want to chime in on, Ramon?
Yeah, I would say the MVP is going to be Estrada and Camilo Duvall.
It's hard to argue with those two, and I love Tyro Estrada. I loved him last year. I thought he was the MVP of the team last year, and I said as much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, Ramon.
I really enjoyed the other day that you guys were talking about the minor leagues. It's amazing, you know, what you guys have to go through, you know, to make it to the major league.
Thanks, Ramon. I was tentative about doing that segment. I thought I was going to put everybody to sleep, but it's gotten rave reviews. So maybe I'll redo it again in a couple of weeks here. Let's go to Eric. Let's go to Eric in San Francisco, Raf, top of the screen. Eric, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, I'm doing good. So the guy that just got cut from his freshman team reminded me of I play in the rec leagues here, the hardball leagues in San Francisco. And there's a batter's eye. I think it's the high school in Oakley, Freedom. The batter's eye used to be this big white gymnasium, and you could never see a ball out of it. But the main thing I wanted to call was pitching on a real mound is night and day versus like out in Golden Gate Park trying to pitch. We had I think it was in Marin Catholic. They have these amazing mounds. And I swear my fastball was faster than it's ever been. Every curveball was for a strike, and it just snapped and striking everybody out. It had everything to do with the quality of the mound. It kind of reminded me when you were talking about how the major leagues was you played better than the minors.
We get a little downhill tilt to it, right? You get a little push-off going on your stuff.
It's just snapping. I was like, man, I could have went pro.
I could throw this football over that mountain right now. Good stuff.
Napoleon.
Good stuff, Eric. Who's your first half MVP for the Giants?
First half MVP, you can't say Bailey, so
you could. It wouldn't be the worst pick in the world, I don't think. I was saying Patrick Bailey should be an all-star last night. Why not?
Well, if we had to do a tie, the first quarter, give it to Estrada. The second quarter, give it to Bailey. But if I had to pick one person, I mean, just let's give it to the vet. Let's give it to Jock. He's hanging out with all these kids, keeping up with them.
All right, good pick. I like it. Let's go to thanks, Eric. Thanks for the story, and thanks for calling. Really appreciate all the calls tonight. You guys have been absolutely on fire. I think we came on the air right around 7. It's been 2 hours and 13 minutes of nonstop phone calls. The other night, it was 3+ hours of phone calls. You guys never cease to amaze me. Really, really good stuff. I have all these segments planned. I never even get to them. Let's go to Craig in Arizona. Craig, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, Mr. FP. Always a pleasure to talk to you. You know what? Being a Yankee fan, American League that I am, Duvall is reminding me so much of Mariano Rivera. So I guess that's the greatest compliment that I could give to him. Second would be Tyro. He's getting it done. And like the last guy, Jock Peterson, he's our leadership. So there you go.
Those are all good picks, man. And then the Mariano Rivera comparison is well, I guess he does have a cutter, but Mo is more over the top with his, not the 3/4 sling that Camilo has versus Mariano. I faced him in his prime in New York, and his ball almost rose. It was weird. I think Duvall's does that a couple. It looks like it seems to do that at times where he gets so underneath it that it has a little rise to it. But Mariano Rivera would throw like 95 at the top of the zone. It played like it was 195, and it had a cut at the end of it. And I faced him my first time in Yankee Stadium. I hit 2 weak foul balls down the first baseline ground balls, and he broke 2 bats in 2 pitches. I had to go back to the dugout twice in the same at-bat. It was embarrassing. And Joe Orsulak, who we called the hardest man in baseball after the game, said, FP, your Easton contract just came in, talking about that I needed an aluminum bat because I was breaking so many. So one of the toughest pitchers I ever faced. I only faced him a couple of times, but his cutter was so subtle, you couldn't even tell the spin on it. It looked like a straight fastball. You go to swing, and next thing you know, it was all over your hands.
Wow. So if Duvall is in Mo's range, man, we got a lot of good stuff to look forward to.
I think he's an elite closer, and I thought he was last year too. And I think now it's all kind of slowing down for him even more. But he impressed me a lot last year, and he's graduated to an all-star level this year. And I'd be shocked if he isn't in the all-star game. Craig, thanks for the call, dude. I appreciate it. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Ref, I'm going to take a quick break right here and get to all their calls. So if you're on hold, stay right there. 808 KNBR. The topic on hand is it's a post-game wrap for the first half of the season. The Giants are at game number 81. They're 45-36. They lose 2-1 to the Blue Jays. They head to New York. But if you're on hold, stay right there. Tons of text messages coming in. I'm going to get to all of that on the other side of the break. You're listening to FP Santangelo on KNBR tonight on The Sports Leader. maybe they had an open relationship, dude. I'm not judging. Maybe they're polyamorous, which I feel like everybody in this town is. I've never seen that before since I moved back to San Francisco. Oh, yeah, we're open. We're polyamorous. All right. Whatever works for you. That's not my gig. 808 KNBR is the number. The subject at hand, and you guys have been amazing all night. Let me give you guys props again tonight. Another full phone lines for 3+ hours. Unbelievable, the participation, the interest in that show. If you're not listening or your friends aren't listening, tell them to listen because we're having more fun than is humanly allowed on radio the last couple of weeks. The show's really hitting its stride. Obviously, it has to do with the Giants playing some really good baseball. Everybody in this town super enthusiastic about the club. And I said this last night. We had a topic on the board last night that was, why are you in love with the Giants team right now? Why are you in love with this ball club? And I had this really deep take on how they're grindy, as Jock Peterson puts it, and they're gritty, as Gabe Kapler puts it. And that's the way San Franciscans are. That's the way we are in this town. It's representative of who we are. And it's representative of the sidewalk in the Embarcadero, for God's sakes, with all this stuff on it. It's our town. It's the coastline. It's Northern California. We're hard hat and lunch pail here, and this team is hard hat and lunch pail. There are no super duper stars. There isn't an Aaron Judge. There isn't a Carlos Correa. We didn't need those guys. The Mets and the Padres won the offseason. The Giants didn't. How's that working out? The Padres lost again tonight. The Dodgers are up 11-3 in the 5th against the Rockies. And the Rays beat the Diamondbacks 6-1. So the Giants don't lose ground on the Diamondbacks tonight, who lose again to Tampa Bay. So when you talk about all that stuff, I think the enthusiasm, getting back to why the show is just like taking off right now, and you guys are just A+ for participation. The phone lines it's been hard to get into. I have a couple of friends that tried to call, I think it was Monday night or Tuesday night after the Giants win, and they couldn't get in. But I love that you guys are excited about the show. I love that you're listening to KNBR. Obviously, stay tuned. Leave your car right where it is on 680 or 104.5 for the morning show with Murph and Mac. Just leave it right there because they're the best in the business in the morning. So if you're going to work tomorrow, listen to those guys. Let's go to Robert in San Jose. Robert, you're on KNBR. What's going on?
Hey, JP. I just want to congratulate you on your show, and really appreciate your candor and the way that you tell a story. You tell it like it is. You open up about everything, and it's really good radio. We as listeners do appreciate the way that you come across and tell a story where you don't hide anything.
Thanks, Robert. I try to be authentic.
Pretty refreshing.
Thanks.
Pretty refreshing.
I try to be authentic as I can. It's a battle every day in my life to be that, and I work at it every day, and it's not easy, but I try to be, and I want to come across as that, and I want to be that person. I just talk into a microphone. I have a great avenue here and a great forum to express my opinions, but like I say, I love to hear your guys's too, and that's my favorite part of the show. So thanks for calling. What do you got tonight?
That's what you come across as, just genuine and direct and straight, and you tell it like it is. You asked about who was the MVP. To me, I think Estrada. I think he's been pretty steady on at bat and on defense. So my vote would be on Estrada.
Yeah, I think, Robert, since we've been playing this game long enough, that would be my pick too. I love Tyro. I love how he goes about it. I love how much he's improved on defense. Remember last year he was super nervous on defense, almost a liability wherever you put him. He was making a lot of silly errors. Like, he's tightened it up where, I mean, I'll take him at second base.
He didn't play some game. He got benched because of his defense like last year, but he's much improved on that. And he's my hats off to that guy when somebody improves on things.
Well, good pick, Robert. I appreciate you chiming in. Good stuff. Really good stuff. And thanks for the compliments. Really nice of you to say that.
Right, that's
man,
pick.
you're good. You're good, man. Thank you.
Have a good night, Robert. Let's go to Dave in Antioch. Dave, you're on KNBR. What's going on? Dave, turn down your radio. There's a delay. Let's go to Jeff in Longstocking. Jeff, Hefe Longstocking. God, I screw it up every time. Hefe Longstocking, what's going on, dude? How are your pigtails tonight?
Dude, you almost got called out hard. By the way, you don't give your boy in the back room enough credit because he wanted to call you out if you couldn't read Hefe Longstocking correctly this evening.
Dude, in my defense, and this is a really good problem to have, we've had so many calls this week that I'm just getting, I'm looking at the board on the fly, and it's been a good problem to have. I can't believe the enthusiasm from Giants fans calling the Tonight Show. It's been great.
I'm not upset about getting some time on the best show on KNBR. I listen to Murph Mac every morning on the way to work. I can get off shift in time, and I can get on with that thing. It's a good day. So but what I've had to do is start taking notes because I always have too many thoughts for you because you had a lot of tangents that you go on. So I have notes for you this evening. I'm going to say my MVP, Tyro. That's a long time coming. The man went to Yankees camp with a bullet in his hip. You knew that the guy was tough. The guy was going to show up at some point. And it's Tyro.
Wait, he went to Yankees camp with a what?
With a bullet in his hip.
I didn't know
that.
Know this? I don't know, man. That's probably my bad as the host for not knowing that. But Tyro bullet.
Let me tell a quick story about Tyro because most people probably don't know this. He got shot in his home country, I believe, of Venezuela, in a robbery that he was not involved in. He was at dinner with his wife. A stray bullet hit him in the hip. He did not want to miss out on going to camp because he knew it was a great opportunity for him. So he did not get surgery. He played the entire next season with the Yankees, whether it was a farm team or whatever it was, with a bullet in his body, and then got surgery after the season was over, which makes him awesome.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now. I had no idea, and that's probably my bad for not knowing that. But yeah, I'm seeing it right here. He didn't even think he got shot. He just felt something in his upper thigh. He had surgery, spent 3 days in the hospital. The bullet remains lodged in his hip. That was in February of 2018. So how is his nickname not the Bullet? I don't understand this. This is a legendary story. This is kind of like Roy Hobbs. Remember Roy Hobbs got shot and he had the bullet in his stomach, right? And Tyro Hobbs. I had no idea.
I mean, Tyro, he's been waiting on being the MVP for the team, at least for a half season, right?
I love Tyro Estrada, dude. I'm not supposed to have favorites, but I love how he plays second. I love how he's quiet. He goes about his business. He gets the job done. He plays hard. He steals bases. He hits homers. He's becoming a Gold Glove quality second baseman, which maybe be a stretch right now, but he's playing above average second base. He can turn the pivot. I love Tyro Estrada, man. I love everything about the kid. He's my favorite Giant. He is, in my mind, he would be my pick.
He is so smooth second. That's what you said, right? He's quiet about it. You don't know how smooth he is because he's that smooth. He just does it. And you don't have to worry about it. It's just going to happen.
Sorry, I'm reading. You got me all distracted. I'm reading Tyro Estrada bullet stories right now.
It's a great story. All right. My other reason I called in, and I clarified that I'm allowed to say this word on the air. I need more red ass Gabe. And you said red ass earlier, and I liked it. I want more red ass.
Same.
If you're going to get thrown out as a manager in the first 3 innings, he did not get his money's worth. And I remember a time he got thrown out in Philly where he was nasty. And I want to see that. At the midpoint of the season when guys need to get fired up and our pitching staff is beat up and a lot of our teams beat up, Gabe, go get thrown out. Go get dragged out. Get dirty with it. Let's be really, really bad about it. You don't got to kick dirt in the umpire's shoes, but you got to kick dirt in the umpire's shoes.
Hefe Longstocking, it's a great take, and I'm with you 100%. And I don't know where Gabe's popularity stands with Giants fans right now. I know it was low in the offseason, and people would bitch and moan about it on the show all the time.
Very low.
But I think it's a little bit higher now, popularity, than an approval rating, if you will. But if he started going all willy-nilly and getting thrown out once every couple of weeks, his popularity level would go through the roof. Because I think Giants fans are like you, and I'm like that. He was chirping. I think it was in St. Louis. He was really pissed off, and he was chirping at an umpire in the dugout, and the veins were popping out of his neck. He's got veins everywhere, but the veins were popping out of his neck, and I was like, yeah, I like that. And then tonight he came out to protect one of his horses, and I'm like, yeah, I like that. So I'm with you. I'd like red ass Gabe Kapler too. I hope he picks his spots right.
I want it dirty though. I want him getting mad. Like Bruce Bochy, right? When he got thrown out of the game, you could see spit coming out of his mouth. Give me something.
Yeah, well, baby
He
steps.
was very calm, and I commend him for being calm and not getting fined and not getting suspended. But at the same time, I want him getting somebody's S, as they would say on Murphy Mac.
I do too, man. I dig it. I like fired up Gabe. Hopefully he stays like that.
And
keep going.
So I'm trying to go quick. I'll go with my notes. Why am I in love with the Giants? These young kids are fun, dude. Let's keep going. Bring out the kids. Give me Kyle Harrison.
Ooh.
Next year, I know he's not ready. Next year, give me Luciano. It'll be fun. Let's go.
Yeah,
let all these kids get fired up and let them roll because they're having fun and they're doing good.
You can improve on defense, but I watched Luciano take like 3 ground balls in spring training, and I thought, oh, this guy's not a shortstop. And maybe that's a negative take.
You told me that too. You told me that about 2 months ago, and I said, fine, then let him DH because I know he can hit.
Yeah, well, he can play the outfield. If you can hit, they're going to find a place for you to play, and he's got a powerful swing. I love to watch his swing, and I've only seen a few of them on the internet. I've never watched him play in person, but yeah, who knows? And he could be a good trade chip when it comes to July or August 1st, whatever the deadline is now.
If he's a trade chip, then you better get me a dude that throws gas for 8 innings a game at 98 miles an hour, and that 2-seamer or that 4-seamer moves 4 or 5 inches every time.
I would trade him right now for Aroldis Chapman from the Royals right now. I'd take Chapman as our 8th inning guy, and I think you make your strength stronger, and I would go Chapman and Duvall, and now it's a 7-inning game with the way Tyler Rogers is pitching. It's a 6-inning game. And if Taylor locks in and the other guys, now you got a 5-inning game. If you got lead after 5 and you make your bullpen even stronger, you win a lot of baseball games. It takes a lot of pressure off your offense. Everyone's saying they need a starting pitcher. They don't. They need another reliever. You make because if you trade prospects for an average pitcher, you're weakening your organization for the long haul. I'm not trading prospects for an average pitcher at all. I might pick up some salary. I tweeted yesterday that I'd take Patrick Corbin in a minute because he's a different pitcher when he pitches for a purpose bigger than himself. And if you put him in a National League West pennant race, I think he'll be effective. And I don't think you'd have to give up prospects for Corbin. You just have to pick up, I don't know, a lot of his contract. And I don't know if the Giants are willing to do that. But I've seen him pitch, and maybe I'm thinking back to a time when he was a little bit better, but he also pitched 7 shutout against Seattle the other day and struck out 9, didn't walk anybody. I think if you put him in a winning scenario, he would be effective. But to me, I'm not trading any prospects for an okay pitcher to maybe get into the playoffs or maybe win a division. If I do give up a prospect, it's gonna be for my bullpen. The bullpen is the Giants' strength. I want to make my bullpen the best bullpen in baseball, and that's what I would do during the trade deadline.
I agree, and like I said, you always give me you get on a tangent, you get me rolling. I'm going to go back to my notes real quick. I would also like to say, out of all due respect, Camilo Duvall is also the MVP for the Giants. He is
that's a good pick.
He is the best closer in the National League.
You needed notes. You needed notes for that.
No. So I'm a little bit ADHD dyslexic, so I had to go back to my notes because I saw Tyro, and I was like, ooh, Tyro, let's talk about Tyro. But, yes, Camilo Duvall is also 100% tied for the MVP. It's Tyro and Camilo, and that's it.
Yeah,
There's no question.
Can't argue with that at all. All right, Hefe, I got to bounce to another call. Thanks for calling, dude. I appreciate you waiting.
All right, dude, call you next week, bro.
Yeah, I'd love that. Steve in Oakland. Steve, you're on The Sports Leader. What's going on, Steve? Steve.
You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you. Now you're talking to me.
Folsom.
What's that?
I'm from Folsom. I'm I'm an ex-alumni from Oak Ridge Trojan, but...
Oh, all right. They put Oakland on here.
You guys better watch Folsom, not Oakland.
All right, Steve from Folsom. You're on KNBR. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm an ex-alumni like you, Oak Ridge Trojan, brother.
That's awesome, dude. What year did you graduate?
98, sir.
Oh, you're a youngin'. That's good. We like our listeners.
Yeah,
we like our listeners young here.
I've been a candlestick since I was freaking 2 years old.
So 98. All right. That's good. Well, who's your first half MVP?
Bailey, Jock, and the San Francisco fans for sticking through the whole deal.
All right. What did Giants fans stick through?
The heartache in the beginning.
When they were 6-13 to start the year. You know, this was a couple days ago, so this isn't updated. But after that start, they had the best record in baseball after their 6-13 start.
They're good. My biggest worry is the bullpen still, I'll be honest with you. They're going to be tired in August when it's 110.
I disagree. They have a bulk guy that's eating up most of the innings on these opener games, and they're only using 3 or 4 pitchers in these games. It's just because it's a little bit backwards and you start with a reliever, I think people are freaking out. It's not like they're using 6 or 7 pitchers a game and 1 pitcher an inning, 8 pitchers a game. They're only using 3 or 4 in these opener things. I disagree. I think they know what they're doing. We'll see. It might play out that you're right. But I tend to disagree right now based on what I'm seeing.
I hope I'm wrong, honestly. I hope I'm wrong, but as a former pitcher, it's like, man, it's going to get hot out, and these arms are going to be tired.
It's like 50 degrees here every day. There is no summer in San Francisco.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's like you're playing in a cryogenics lab. These guys don't even age. It's so cold. I got to go to El Dorado Hills for a suntan. I don't even see the sun here. Although today was beautiful. This weekend's supposed to be.
Yeah, right. No, you will bake.
Yeah, it's one or the other, right? All right, Steve. Thanks for the call, dude. I really, really appreciate it. Good stuff.
I actually built your house pad in Toronto about 20 years ago. So
you built my what?
Your house pad in Toronto about 20 years ago.
What's a house pad? The foundation?
When you lived in Toronto, your foundation, yes, sir.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Have a good night. I love your show, man. It's a great show. I appreciate you, and good talk. Have a good night.
Thank you, Steve. That was the best foundation I ever had in my life. Seriously.
Good pick. All right, that's a good pick.
It's a good pick. The foundation's a good pick. Let's go to Dave in Antioch. Dave, you're on game.
I wanted to call back again. I just wanted to, say you're doing a great job. And, the first guy that called this evening, he was great. The passion, I just wanted to, I didn't know how old he is, but I wanted to tell him, give him some advice. It's like I always listen to some tunes that, always, brought up my spirits, whenever I'm down. And the AC/DC song shook me up all night long. It has the beat that starts it off, and it also brought back memories of Sam Long, the Giants, a little rookie. He wasn't a rookie, I guess, but a year or two ago, he really came on the scene, and I know he's from SAC as well. I'm hoping that he's doing well. I think his mom or something had some health issues, but it's great that the Giants did him a solid and traded him to the A's. So I just wanted to, if you're in touch with him, just give him a hats off. Giants fans, we're baseball fans, and although the A's and Giants have a rivalry with their fans, I think deep down we're all baseball purists, and hope you pass the positive vibes to it.
All right, Dave, good stuff. Always remember, Dave, she was a fast machine. She kept her motor clean. She was the best damn woman that I've ever seen.
Yeah, rock on.
When she had the cyclist size, telling me no lies, really knocking me out with those American thighs. Given more than her share, had me fighting for air. She told me to, but I was already there. I mean, we can break down music all night. I love me some AC/DC. So let's listen to this as we go to commercial break, just for a little bit. We should play music. We'd probably get better ratings. What if we just came on and played music all night one night? Oh, look at the spike in the stream.
Is hit to left center field. Jock on the move, and he'll make this catch and tumble over on the turf. Jock Peterson having a night in the outfield. Two terrific plays there. That one I didn't think he could get to. He robbed Espinal of extra bases and saved a run. What a play by Jock, who's playing in the field for a rare time tonight and doing a great job. That was fun to watch.
Dude, if this is a Casino Matrix studio, shouldn't we have a slot machine in here so I could do something in commercial breaks? Like maybe a progressive slot right in the studio? Is that legal? Or maybe just a blackjack table with a dealer for the KNBR Tonight Show is over here so I can just like get a few hands in. The hammer, come on. All right, here's your water cooler stat of the night. So when you go to work tomorrow morning, this is what you're telling everybody around the water cooler. If you still go to work, and if you don't go to work, please come back to the city. We need people in the city. That's the first back-to-back road losses for the Giants since May 12th and 13th. Since May. The last time they lost 2 games in a row on the road. So that's your water cooler stat of the night. Maybe we should make that a sponsored segment. Sponsored by water coolers. All over the world. I saw this today, by the way. This is going to ruin your night. Are you ready for this? I'll get to the phones in a second. Unwashed pillowcases contain more bacteria than toilet seats. That's a report. You won't sleep soundly after this. It does, Gabe. An unwashed pillowcase could harbor 3 million bacteria after just 1 week, which is about 17,000 times more than the average toilet seat, according to a report from AmeriSleep shared this month. The analysis included cleanliness data for mattresses, linens, and pillowcases, as well as a breakdown of the potential pathogens lurking between the sheets. Allergens, fungi, and dead skin are among the unsettling particles you wouldn't want to cozy up with at night. And they can attract dust mites. I sound like I'm reading a commercial now. And more. And microscopic critters that feast on skin cells. Experts warn. Everyone, go home and wash your pillowcases tonight. I'm going to do this. I washed mine last week. Or sleep.
Good pick. All right, that's a good pick.
Or Raph, as Raph just said in my ear, or sleep on your toilet. I don't know. That's so funny. Experts warn that pillowcases specifically should be changed routinely, more than just once a week or a month. Yeah, if you're washing your pillowcases once a month, that's gross. I think the longest I go is 2 weeks, maybe. But I wash my face before I go to bed every night. I don't know. When you get into bed, we're ending the show on a bang tonight. When you get into bed, you contaminate your bed linens and dead skin cells. About 50 million per day. Sweat, makeup, lotions, hair, and anything else you've picked up during the day, from pollen and pet dander to fungal mold and dirt particles to bacteria and viral particles as well. Dr. Hadley King told Well and Good. Dead skin cells and sweat provide food for dust mites. That's disgusting, dude. So there's dust mites in your bed, attracting them to your bed and helping them multiply. Okay. A recent TikTok gave a visual representation of the bacteria colonies that apparently flourish beneath your head every night. I think that's enough, right? I think that's good. So just go home and wash your pillowcases. I've heard that too. Everybody says like your pillowcase is the dirtiest part of your, blah, blah, blah. But cleaner than your toilet seat. So like Raph said, sleep on your toilet tonight. Oh my God, Raph, we've been together a while. That's the funniest thing you've ever said. Let's go to Verducci in Eldorado Hills. Verducci, sleep on your toilet tonight.
Oh my gosh, I think I just threw up in my mouth.
Isn't that the gross? Dude, everybody listening to that is going to go home and wash their pillowcases tonight. Or
I certainly am. I certainly am.
Maybe I need rotating pillowcases so I have some clean ones in the drawer, then put them on, throw the dirty ones in the wall, and then keep that whole cycle going so I don't have to do a big production every week. I think that's what I'm going to do.
It's either that or I'm just going to sleep on my floor tonight.
Sleep on your toilet, dude. Stick your head in the lick the toilet rim. It's way healthier.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, FP, my first time calling you, man. I've always appreciated your show and insight. I grew up a Giants fan and watched you out in the days with Bonds out there in Candlestick. So it's kind of an honor to be a part of the show and to talk to you. And I wanted to kind of share my MVPs. My first one is definitely Bailey. You look at the stats when he came off, just the control that he has with the pitching staff and our record with him behind the plate. I felt like that was a position that needed some sense of calm, and we weren't getting that with Joey Bart and Sable, and it's been great to just see Bailey come in and really kind of control the pitchers, and I think there's definitely a deep respect for the veterans that have been pitching to him, and obviously he knows the youth coming up, so that's also super helpful. The second person I think for MVP would be like J.D. Davis. I love how he's been able to take the reins of third base. I give Farhan a huge props for what we got for Ruff, and we turned that into J.D. Davis, who definitely in my book is an all-star. And then finally Duvall, finally getting someone on the back end of that bullpen to, we know when he's in, for the most part, he's closing it down. And I agree. If we can strengthen our strength and getting someone in the eighth inning like a Chapman, I am all for it. But, yeah, FP, I love you, man. Keep up the great work and hope to be calling more frequently.
Verducci, please don't be a stranger to the show. That was outstanding. And did you sneak an F. Lee Bailey in there for Patrick Bailey? The American criminal defense attorney. He dropped that's a good nickname, F. Lee Bailey.
That's a good pick.
He's a defense attorney, and his defense is awesome. So if Verducci meant that on purpose, that was solid. All right, that's going to do it for the show tonight. You guys have been amazing all night long. I'm literally floored every single night on the passion, the intelligence, and the participation of the calls. When I started the show a year ago, I never dreamed that I would do 3 hours of phone calls every night, and that's what it's gravitated to. And I feel like everything's kind of hitting its stride on KNBR tonight. The Giants have every reason to do with it, but I think you guys do too. Giants fans were frustrated in the offseason. They didn't get what they wanted for Christmas. But like I said, ad nauseum at the time, you don't win a World Series in December. The Mets and the Padres won the offseason. The Giants didn't. The Padres lost again. They're 7 games under 500. The Mets are scuffling mightily. So you can spend all the money you want, but you have to spend it wisely on baseball players. We can get excited. We can have a crazy Giants fest at the ballpark, the fan festival with everybody there because they signed this guy, and that guy. But what it comes down to is winning and between the lines and the character of the team that you have. And I think these guys are really gelling. I'm around them a lot. I'm lucky enough to be around them on the road. They like each other. They're pulling for each other. There's no jerks on this team. It's all generally good guys. And I think when you come down to the halfway mark where we're at, today was game number 81. I think if you told us we'd be 2.5 or 3 games out of first place, whatever it is, I didn't look at the standings tonight, on June, whatever it is. What is it, 28th? 28th? Is that? Oh, 29th. That's right in the clock. Rouse point to. On June 29th in Scottsdale, we had all taken it. So once again, thanks for all the calls tonight. Raph, great job. Greg, great job answering all the calls. You guys are amazing. Thanks to all the callers. We'll be back tomorrow night after the Giants beat the Mets 43-0. We'll be on after the game tomorrow. We'll have a fun Friday. Then I'm off next week until Thursday. I'm having a fun family celebration for the 4th of July. I can't wait. It's one of my favorite holidays in the world. But on the way out, like I always say every night, thanks for all the calls and swing hard in case you hit it on The Sports Leader.